Hello.
Oh.
What the Jeez. Welcome.
Just put out of my mind.
Welcome to Cornet's Corner, episode 67.
What's going on?
Quickly approaching episode 69.
Oh man, I forgot
We
we're
have
we're
fun on.
doing that. Holy crap,
Yeah.
it's gonna be good.
Anyways, you got any updates this week? How's life?
Well, I'm still very, very tired of this Squid Game event for Black Ops 6. It's like the biggest thing that I have to say about this week, dude.
Yeah.
They fixed some of the complaints people had about the game. I know we're gonna talk about Black Ops 6 later, but it seems like they're trying, which is nice. But I'm waiting for
I mean,
season
they
2,
have
bro.
to. The game just went off a cliff all of a sudden. So in terms
Yeah,
of like numbers,
I think people are just waiting for
I
that.
have had no desire to play it, and if I do hop back on it, it'll be to play zombies.
Well, I mainly just play it because they have the event there, and I need like 80,000 more XP in order to get the last tier of it. That's it. But
Yeah.
I've already hit the end of the battle pass. I don't know. I've been playing Fallout 4, and that's it.
Yeah, we'll talk about gaming in a bit. You got anything else?
No, I think I'm good.
Pollo Loco crossed 145,000 views. We're approaching 150K. At 150K, we are going to be mixing all 26 G Fuel flavors in the hydration category. So that's going to be interesting. Theo gets to try it. I'm thinking for 175, we'll do like, maybe we'll go try a double chunk chocolate cookie and a chicken bake
Lord.
and rate it on the boom meter.
Dude,
or something.
did you see that somebody went into their stream and was like, "Hey, like my dad just died." And they're
Yeah,
like, oh,
yeah.
five
Like,
booms.
oh, rest in peace. Let's give him 5 booms.
Or
And like,
I think it was the guy's
boom,
brother or something like
boom.
that. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's I was like, bro, I don't know how I feel about it because clearly like it came from a place of like where we feel bad.
It's
How
just
can
for
we
in
show our
poor
support?
taste.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
man, I don't know. It seems like people are happy that they're successful though, and I know like some people are like, what the heck, man?
They're not
Like,
hurting anybody.
yeah.
The only thing that bothers me about them is they don't police their comments and people say some really like just mute certain words because people are like saying some suggestive things about his children and it's just like
Well, so you
that
know,
was going on in my comments. I would have cracked down on that right away.
with the Rizzler, so I found out that kid has been recorded like his whole life.
Yeah.
I was like seeing clips that I was like, I've seen this video before and I had no idea
Yeah.
it was him.
It's the same way with AJ and Big Justice. He's been recording him since he could like just started to walk.
Dang.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. It definitely seems like Big AJ, like his life's mission for like the last 10 years is to get famous.
Well, isn't he doing like wrestling now? I thought there was some
I
wrestling
think
thing that
that's
happened.
that's been like his goal is to get into wrestling. So good for him. He seems like he's happy. I mean,
He's built for it.
yeah, no, I mean he's a big boy.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like, you know,
I just-
well, how are they gonna survive without TikTok though?
I don't know, but we'll talk about that later too, because it's
It's starting to get kind of sketchy.
we'll talk about it. We'll talk
Yeah.
about it, man. But I was gonna say the other thing that I'm like, kind of like, I find it off-putting, is you know how I do like my TikTok skit voice where
We're gonna try this week's Chromebook.
yeah. He does his like Big AJ voice all the time. Like he always talks like this. I've never seen him talk normal. Like, dude, it's kind of like, woohoo. But I mean, that's what you want to do, and that's how you want to live life, you know.
It's like
More power to you,
method
but
acting,
that
bro.
shit would drive me crazy, man.
Yeah,
I've been method acting for 10 years.
Yeah.
Goddamn.
well, I
He's
like
in no man's land.
that's the thing.
Watch
Though.
out, Daniel Day-Lewis.
So when it comes to like the way that you speak, right? one of the things that I've always wondered is, I mean, some people they can sort of teach themselves to speak a certain way. Like for example,
Mm.
me sometimes I like slur my words and stuff like that. Like and so it's just that's just how I talk. Like I have a very like
Yeah.
like I don't enunciate all the time, right? But I can change it for a minute if I'm having like a serious conversation. Like I can do that. But like some people train themselves to talk a specific way all the time. Like for example, Michael from Vsauce, he said that he enunciates on purpose because it's like a way to seem. I think he said it was like the way to seem more like Bill Nye and stuff like that, where like it lends a sense of like professionalism, and he wants to portray that at all times, right? And so you can sort of train yourself to talk a certain way, and I almost wonder if that's what's happened is he's talked like that for so long in all these videos that it's just easier to talk like that all the time than to like switch it off and on.
Yeah, I mean, I've listened to method actors talk about. I heard, I think it was Will Smith who said he did it one time, and it like, I mean, obviously he kept doing it, which was weird after he said this, but he was like that shit like eats away at your soul, and I'm like, and he said when you bring it home and you're just being this character 24/7 for like, you know, a year. He's like, when it's time to stop and like move on to the next role, like you have a hard time finding yourself again.
Yeah.
You know, like you lose a little bit of yourself every time you commit like that. And I mean, I don't know. It would be really interesting to talk to him and just talk to him like a normal person. Be like, yo, no, we're not like there's no cameras, there's no mic. Like this is just two human beings, two dudes talking. What would that conversation be like? I feel like people can look at my content and some of my more personal videos and get an idea of what I'm really like. But I look at his stuff and it's like I have no clue what that guy's really like. You know,
Yeah.
is that really him? Because it seems like I don't know. I just like what is that guy like behind closed doors, alone with his family, just like having a family night? You know, is it just I don't know. I see all these different collaborations they do, and he's got the Rizzler with him and all the whole family, and it's just chaos.
What was that
You
one?
know,
The just give me my money.
just give me my money. Uh,
Yeah, I don't pay too much attention to their content. Like I'll see clips of it and stuff like that, and I
yeah, same here.
it's I mean clearly they're famous for a reason, right? But
They got a
yeah,
really good publicist.
that's is that what you really think it is?
Yeah, I mean, they got on like what Jimmy Fallon and all that shit. You don't really get onto that kind of stuff unless you have a publicist. Which, by the way, I'm
Yeah.
gearing up to get my own publicist here soon. So
Hmm.
we'll talk about that later too. But first, I wanted to switch to a more serious topic. You guys all like know that I go to LA a lot. I've got a lot of friends there. A good one of my best friends, Ben Escobar, co-director of Pollo Loco, co-producer now on Always Ready. Um, he lives in LA and he was affected by the fires. He, as far as I know, the house that he rents is okay, but he was in the evacuation zone. And so I think he's in like San Francisco. You know, until this kind of blows over, which that's not a good use of words because it's been windy out there like crazy, the Santa Ana winds. I remember when I was stationed in San Francisco and we would do deployments to LA and like, you know, a couple times or that time of year where it would just be like crazy, like, you know, 60 70 mile per hour wind gusts, and this time it got up to like 100 mile per hour wind gusts.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's like, you know, a once in a century like event we're having here. I just looked it up right now. Um, the Palisades fire, which is like I believe the biggest one,
Is it
22,000 acres burned.
Palisade? What is it?
Palisades fire.
Okay.
So there's 6 active fires right now in LA as of 8 a.m. this morning. The Palisades fire is only 11% contained, and it's 22,000 acres burned, and it's killed at least 5 people. They said it's burned more than 5,300 structures since Tuesday. They got the Eaton fire, which is near Pasadena. That's killed at least 6 people and burned 14,117 acres with more than 7,000 structures damaged or destroyed. That's only 15% contained. The Kenneth fire, that one is 80% contained. That's burned 1,052 acres. Then there's the Lydia fire, which they cracked down on real quick. I think they thought that one was started by arson, and that only burned 395 acres, which I don't know if you could like. I'm trying to think of a good way to put an acre into perspective. Like most like houses with a nice big backyard and stuff are on like half an acre, right? Like a nice suburban house with a nice backyard, talking half an acre. So it's 395 acres is still huge, man. But that one is 100% contained. I think it's still burning, but like they've stopped it from like as of 8 a.m. they had stopped it from like continuing to burn like anything else. So that's great. There's the Hearst fire that's 76% contained. That's in the north near San Fernando. That's already burned 799 acres. But like I said, that one's like pretty contained. Then there's the Archer fire, which I believe is the newest one. That broke out yesterday morning, which is northwest of downtown LA, and that one's being fueled by erratic winds. It's burned 19 acres so far as of the time of this article. So it hasn't moved a lot, but it's 0% contained. So they haven't like gotten it yet.
What
but
starts these freaking fires every single year? That's what I've always been confused by.
There's all kinds of different things. A lot of times it's like power lines, arson. Like literally saw a video where these guys in ski masks were like starting a fire.
I know one year, wasn't there a wildfire that got started by like a gender reveal party or something like that?
Yeah. But they said that there is yeah, at least 11 people have been killed so far by these fires, and that number is definitely going to go up once they like, you know, get these all contained and assess the damage and everything for real. The scary thing is that a lot of times what happens is like if people get stuck on a road, it'll just go right over them and the cars burn and they burn inside them. So but it's
Yeah, I've seen videos of people like trying to get out of those zones where there's fire everywhere, and it's like
Malibu got like all fucked up, man. There's a bunch of like famous cafes and stuff that burned down. There's like a bunch of GoFundMe's to like try and rebuild them and stuff.
jeez.
A lot of history gone there. A lot of celebrity homes. I mean, look, losing your home is terrible and everything, you know. But I mean, let's be honest. These celebrities probably have insurance and all that stuff. I saw Mel Gibson was like, I'm gonna get a new house out of this. It's just like, what the hell? Yeah, Mel Gibson's house burned while literally while he was on the Joe Rogan podcast. He's like, yeah, I think my house is on fire right now.
Jesus.
Like, damn.
Dude,
By the way, that episode was very interesting.
did you watch the Mark Zuckerberg episode?
I started it. He's so dry, man.
How far did you get into it?
20 minutes.
Dude, no, like when like it's like probably one of my favorite episodes that I've seen so far. Like going through it, there's a certain part where I was like, oh, this guy's actually a human being. He's not a freaking lizard. Like it's actually changed my perspective on him a lot. I think
Yeah, people were really dogging on what he was wearing though. They're like oversized t-shirt,
he got a chain on.
the broccoli haircut and the gold chain, bro speed running fads. I was like, what the hell?
Well, yeah, he kind of had like a thing where he changed his style to sort of fit in a little bit
least-
better.
Yeah. I just pulled up another article because they're having like a press conference right now. It says at least 11 people killed, at least 13 people missing. 39,000 acres have been destroyed, and more than 12,000 structures. Evacuation orders for the Palestinian.
Were they saying that like half the fire department like is gone, like as far as like compared to like the average amount, like there's like no firefighters anymore?
Oh,
I heard something about that where it's like the size of fire departments in LA are just like falling.
yeah. I don't. Dude, the crazy thing is like now that everybody has a phone and like can live stream, like some of the stuff I've seen come out of here is crazy. Did you see that video? The guy was like totally playing dumb, and the newscaster's like
Oh, I know what
Yeah,
you're
and
talking about.
the guy's like, what does he say? He's like, what's going on? And she's like, there's a fire, and he's like, oh, who started it? And she's like, I don't know. That's what we're trying to figure out. He's like, I bet you it was the gay people.
Yeah,
And I was
you
like,
say it's
"Bro."
the gay people in LA.
Yeah, I'm like, bro. And they're like, okay. They're like, that is uncalled for. That is not acceptable.
Because here's what I'm wondering: where did that come from, bro? Like, like I don't
I
know.
was just trolling 100%. He's like, oh, this is my moment to like crack a joke on the news. Because I've seen have you ever seen those compilations where people like troll the news?
Oh, my favorite's well, it's like the one where they're talking about fireworks, and he's like, "Wouldn't you like to know, Weather Boy?" And he's like, "Where are your
Yeah.
parents?"
Yeah, where are your parents? The guy like
Kid's
tries to, like,
sketchy.
yeah, talk down to him. This kid's sketchy.
Wouldn't you like to know, Weather Boy?
My favorite. Have you seen the one where it's like the couple like jogging and they get stopped and they're like, "You're jogging in this?" And she's like, "Oh, it's great. We love it. Everybody else is scared, but we're having a nice little run here." And it's like freezing ass cold. And she's like, "Watch out for that black ice." And she's like, "Oh, we're fine."
And then she, like,
and they run down
slips.
the street and she slips and busts her ass so bad. And then she gets up because it's like, I got to get off camera. This is, yeah. And she just like, you could tell she's like hurting, man. Have you seen that video where the guy dressed as Santa Claus, he like jumps off a roof, and I can't remember if he lands on one of those like plastic chairs or if he's like jumps with the plastic chair, but when it breaks, he like breaks his tailbone, and it's
Yeah.
just like,
I think I have seen that one. So,
dude.
So my favorite like newscast, like I guess gaff is it's that one lady where she's stomping on grapes because they're like
Yeah.
the thing where they're making wine or something like that.
And
And
she just eats it,
she's like trying to go extra fast to like win the race, and she ends up like stepping on the ledge of the box and trips and falls off of like a platform, and she's
She
like,
gets, like,
oh,
wind-
oh,
the wind knocked out of her or something. That's the worst feeling,
dude,
man.
dude, that was like an old Equals 3 clip. Like that video is old, but yeah, that
Yeah,
must have sucked, man. Especially live. Like, ooh.
Yeah, I saw another one, another compilation that was like, whenever they're talking about like suspects and like they're searching for a criminal, and like the sketches that come up, like one of them looked just like the news anchor.
Yeah.
And there was another one that looked like it was like somebody's like some little kid's like sketch drawing. Like it was just like, or like little freckles. You don't know what
Yeah.
I'm talking about?
Yeah, well, because I think is that the one where like they showed the guy's face and they're like, "Wow, it was actually like kind of accurate." They were like surprised at it.
And then just like, what are they get a kindergartner to come in and do this police sketch? What the hell? And the face that it's just like,
Oh man.
anyways, the fires are awful, man. It is really sad. I got a lot of friends and colleagues that are affected by it. Like I might be going to LA next month. I'm traveling a lot next month. I might be going to LA, going to New York. I can't say why I'm going to New York yet. And then I'm going to Florida for my old roommate from San Francisco's wedding. I'm dressing up as I don't know. You remember that I did a video where my buddy Nick, he like retired.
Mm-hmm.
Him and I are dressing up as Harry and Lloyd from Dumb and Dumber with like the
wow.
orange and blue suits. I got my orange suit.
Dude, you can't triple stamp a double stamp, Lloyd. Lloyd.
Well, I like how they go to, because they're pissed off at each other, right? Because they're fighting over the girl when they show up. Like they're just like not talking about it, but they obviously are pissed at each other. And he like walks through the door, and then Harry just like whacks him in the back of the legs with this cane, and he's like, "Oh!"
God, I need to watch those, man. I've only seen clips.
The first one's really good. The sequel that they came out with way later is kind of weird because they're too old. It just doesn't. If it Feels weird.
How was that? There was that Bill and Ted that came out recently. How was
I haven't
that?
seen any of those.
Not even the first one? Dude, I have
No, I
that. I
know I
have
need
that.
to.
There's that.
It's like a
I have a shirt that has. It says like. Oh God, what does it say?
excellent.
It's strange things are afoot at the Circle K is what they said in the movie. Yeah,
Yeah, I
and
definitely got to watch it.
yeah,
Iconic.
it's kind of stupid, but like I don't know. It to me, it's like one of those movies that's just you
Oh
have.
man, this is Theo's shaker cup, not mine. Oops.
Wait, what's you? You just wash it whenever. Why does it have to be just his?
He got this like 2 years ago, so he was like 5, and I don't know if you can see, but
Did you bite the crap out of it or what? What? I can't see.
oh, wrong way, wrong way. It's backwards on my screen. I'm sorry. Focus. He like chewed on it.
Jesus. Um. Anyways, yeah, like very iconic movie. I would say go and watch. There's definitely more than just those two. There has to be other ones, but
I think there's 3 of them.
yeah. But
They came out with a new one.
yeah, the new one I have to see because I want to know if it was actually good or not. I feel like it probably wasn't. There wasn't a lot of buzz about it, but
It's like time travel, right? That's what it's about. The first one, at least.
yeah. I think they. I barely remember the plot because it was like a few years ago when I watched it, like probably like 2019 or something. But
Yeah.
I think they go back and like they get a bunch of historical figures and then they bring them back to the present. And I think they have to do like a presentation on history or something like that. And it was just a way for them to learn history. But yeah, I don't know. It's just to me, it's very like Magic School Bus without the filter. That's kind of what it reminds me of. But I would say that's probably a good thing to watch. I gotta see if I can watch the newer ones or the new was it just new. There was just one new one, right? Not multiple.
Yeah, just one.
Okay, so the newer one then. But yeah, like go and watch that first one. That's not my recommendation for the week though.
Gotcha. But the yeah, the fires are like the film community, the way it's affecting them is like I saw people who are like, we had Rona, and we had the strikes, and now my house is gone, and I'm just like, God, dude, like that's tough, man. It's rough.
Yeah.
I feel so much for the people over there, and the really sad thing is I've seen so many pictures of people like holding their dogs that died from like smoke inhalation. It's awful, man. Really
Jesus.
sad.
No, the only thing that I've really seen as far as like the damage is there's that stupid video of the McDonald's that's on fire and the winds are blowing like super fast.
It looks like it's out of a movie.
They're literally like it's like Transit from Black Ops 2. It's insane.
Yeah.
It looks like there's just lava everywhere. It's so hot. It's crazy how much smoke there
Did
is,
you see
dude.
Biden? Biden cracked a joke about it.
What? What did he
Like
say?
they were I guess they were like sending aid or something like that, and Kamala's like, okay, we're signing this, and he's like fire away, no pun intended, and then nobody laughed. It was so awkward.
I bet you there wasn't any pun intended. I think he probably just said it and was like, "Oh crap." Like
No, he thought it was funny. You could tell.
Was he smirking when he said it?
Yeah, he was like,
Oh Jesus! Well,
and it's
dude,
just like,
it'll never be as bad as him calling Zelensky President Putin. That is so.
dude, I just
Well, so did you see that the funeral service for Jimmy Carter? I believe is where it was.
yeah, Trump and Obama were like laughing and shit.
Yeah, and then you
They look
Kamala,
like best friends.
or I guess is it Kamala?
Kamala?
Yeah, Kamala.
I don't know.
She turns around and she's like looking at him, and Obama like stopped talking. And as soon as she turned back around, he starts talking again.
That's crazy, man. It's like a freaking high school clique.
Dude,
Jesus.
it's so funny, man. But dude, what a crazy dude. It's not even the middle of the month yet.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess that you know what? I feel like this is we're gonna Chris and I have a Google Doc sheet that we share with our kind of like ideas of what we want to talk about. I'm gonna skip over the third thing to go to number 4, and then we'll come back to 3 after the ad break. But TikTok ban. I don't know, man. Right now it's 50-50.
Yeah.
I really think there's like a 50% chance they just ban that shit. They're talking about a service-wide ban, which means like uh internet providers could be, and I guess cellular providers could be fined for allowing servers to access it. So they're saying like it would actually go dark. There's not like, oh, it's just in the app store, or it's just not in the app store anymore, but I still got it on my phone. Haha. No, it's like, no, they're gonna make sure you can't access it. Like unless you use a VPN.
Yeah. Well, the thing that I was seeing
Um,
was that they like I think it said that TikTok is like preparing for the ban to go into effect.
Well, the reason they're saying that is because they did an evaluation and they valued TikTok as being worth $300 billion. And so nobody's gonna offer that kind of money quick enough. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, even
not
like
even half.
Elon
So
can't even. Well, Elon could afford it,
Elon's the only one, and
but
still
he's not
that's
gonna
like
do it. Yeah.
yeah. But I mean, I think the Shark Tank guy offered 20 billion.
Yeah, I did hear that. Which I doubt he's actually
He's
gonna get anything out
he's
of that.
he's he's really trying, but I don't know. If you want my input, what I think, I saw a lawyer talk about this in depth, and I think I agree with him. He said that the service wide ban stuff could be considered an infringement on free speech. So that there's a chance that won't be enforced until after an actual decision is made. So what he thinks is going to happen is we're going to have a couple of days of like hell where January 19th, boom, it's banned. It comes off the App Store, and then it takes Trump, until the 20th, 21st, or 22nd to reverse it, while they give it a 90-day extension until April, and try to get it sold or pass a law that does something. Because I get it. I listened to the argument. I heard them talking about it. They were like, this is not a free speech issue like, we get it. You're saying free speech is being infringed upon, but we're saying it's a national security risk. Like, if this was the Cold War and it was Russia's app, we would have banned that shit in a heartbeat. And so they're saying, like, you got to think about it. Like, the People's Republic of China is in control of this. That's a national security threat. And I'm like, okay, that I get you, but you're worried about them collecting our data and using it against us. What about Temu and all these other fucking Chinese-owned apps and stuff that
Yeah,
have our data?
or even like on top of that, what about like Chinese hardware? Like my freaking Roomba is Chinese. It's not
Yeah.
Roomba, but like it's like a bootleg Roomba that we got when I was visiting mom and dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get the argument, but the evidence to support it does not make sense. Like it feels like they're being singled out. It's been really interesting to see creators. Like I saw Joe Bartolozzi. He was like, "Look, dude, I hate TikTok." He's like, I used to post 4 times a day, and I post 1 to 3 times, 2 to 3 times a week now. He's like, I don't make any money from it, so it doesn't really affect me. Like YouTube and Twitch are way harder to grow on, this and that. Like he's like a legitimate streamer. They get like 2,000 viewers. And so I was like, okay, I understand what you're saying, but you wouldn't be where you are if it wasn't for TikTok.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, no offense, Joe, but like nobody would know who you were if it wasn't for TikTok. That's the reality of it. So like to just say, I mean, he was respectful about it, and he said that he doesn't want it to get banned, but he thinks there's a good chance it will. But my thing is, there are so many people who started their businesses on TikTok, and if TikTok goes away, they're gonna lose their business. And when a bunch of people lose their business at once, there will be an effect on the economy. It might not be a huge like crash, but it will affect the numbers because we're talking about people not spending money and people not being able to run their business, and
Yeah.
businesses feel the economy.
Well, like I was saying earlier, like with AJ and Big Justice, right? Like they got popular from TikTok,
Yeah, I
right?
don't know how big they are on YouTube. Let me see.
So it's to me, it's like there's people who are still becoming famous every day off of that app. Whether it's for a good reason or not is a different
They have
discussion, but
220,000 subscribers on YouTube.
which is
So
nothing compared to like, for example, like
yeah,
you,
their
right?
videos, their long form videos. It seems like their music videos do really well, but their normal videos less than. I mean, they average like 5 to 10K. Their shorts don't do well.
Yeah, I didn't realize that, dude.
So
Dude, they have like half the followers you do on TikTok.
yeah, but I mean they're memeified. So yeah, I mean that would definitely hurt them. I'm curious to hear what they have to say about it. I think I'll make a video probably on Monday where it's just like a serious video, like hey,
Yeah.
like like tell my story. Tell people like hey, if you go to my profile, you can see what other platforms I'm on. I spent the last month downloading all my videos in the highest quality I could, so nothing nothing that I could download is lost. Like, I'm gonna continue to post, and I mean, people are like, well, something's gonna replace it, and I'm like, well, when Vine died, it took about 3 or 4 years for Musically to start gaining traction. So I don't think something's gonna replace it overnight, but
Well,
I do think something would take its spot. But where is everybody gonna go during that transition? Probably YouTube Shorts and Instagram Reels. So,
which Instagram Reels,
because I both
although
gotta go somewhere.
I so as you know, because okay, random side tangent. So I use Instagram Reels now because everyone knows how I feel about TikTok. I don't like TikTok. Um, I was sending you links to Instagram instead of DMing you
I
on
was
there.
like, bro, just DM me.
And
Jesus.
I was like, oh, I forgot that I can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause I would click on them and it literally would just open Instagram Reels, but not go to the video you sent me. So I'm like, what the hell? And it would take
It's
me like 3 or 4 tries to get it to open. Right?
that's weird. I didn't know that it was doing.
Instagram is easily the most frustrating platform to use as a creator. I like it's like, oh cool, you can schedule reels. I haven't been able to get it to work scheduling reels for like the last 2 months. Like it just, oh, failed connection issue. Try again, and it's like, what are you talking about? It makes no sense.
See, no, the
Um,
problem is you have to use Facebook Reels. That's what the problem is.
well, that people were saying that Mark Zuckerberg is like, oh, that would you look at that? TikTok's going away, and now he's like trying to gain everybody's faith. And I honestly don't care, like but I did think it was interesting that people are like, I don't like this. This feels like he's a wolf in sheep's clothing here. Like trying to say he's for the people and stuff. But who like out of all the platforms that exist, if TikTok goes away, which one do you think wins the most? I think it's Instagram.
I think you're right, mainly because YouTube is already big, and people stopped
Yeah,
using Instagram and Facebook and Threads a
I
long
I
time
think
ago.
I think more people. I mean, I almost slipped up and said something I can't say yet. I talk to people, right, who are like decent sized creators on TikTok, and they're like, yeah, I make content that I post everywhere, but I mainly use YouTube Shorts. And I'm like, I think there's a lot of cross pollination already, but a lot of people don't watch Instagram Reels that watch TikTok, and so I think that's the platform that's going to see the
Yeah.
biggest bump.
Well,
But the shitty thing is Instagram does not pay creators.
yeah,
They're the only platform that does it. Excuse me, that does not pay.
so Instagram Reels, it's the thing that I've noticed with it is it has a lot of overlap as far as the content between itself and TikTok, and that's probably why people don't use it, is because if they're already using TikTok, they gain nothing by going to Instagram,
Yeah,
right?
no, Mr. Zuckerberg, if you really want to see if you really want to keep Instagram alive for the next 10 years, pay the fucking creators, man. Everybody else does. Why the hell aren't you? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. You got ads running and shit. Where's my money?
Well, they did it for a bit and then they stopped.
They stopped when TikTok looked like it was going to get banned in 2022. Like when it went to court, or sorry, 2023. Like when they were right as they were going to court, and they were like, "Yeah, we're gonna ban this in 9 months if it doesn't get sold." All of a sudden, hey, the Instagram Reels fund is it's unfortunately going away, and it's just like, why? Why would you not pay create like? There's no incentive other than organic reach and all that stuff to use your platform. So even Snapchat pays really well, dude.
That's what I heard.
I signed a partnership with this company, and they're handling Snapchat for me because I don't know how that platform works at all, but they're reposting all my stuff on there, and it's growing really fast.
Since when? I didn't know you were doing that.
It started a couple weeks ago, and this company has a good relationship with Snapchat, so I'm supposed to get verified and monetized on there at some point soon. But I met this guy. I can't remember his name, but he does a lot of the. He got famous for doing the where it's like, oh, like first day as a construction worker, and then like, you know, he's dressed like a construction worker, and he just like looks around, and there's all these crazy construction videos, like
Oh,
people,
yeah, I know that guy. That
know what
guy
I
has good videos.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he never talks, but I met him at the Extraction premiere, and he was like, I was talking to him about, because he's like, yeah, you like do really well on TikTok, huh? And I was like, yeah, no, I do better on YouTube now. But he was like, are you on Snapchat? And I was like, no, I'm not. And he's like, I think they pay the best. And I was like, what? Really? Interesting. I'm gonna look into that. That's where he was popping off. But he posts everywhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I don't know. There's a little bit of anxiety that I have right now from the idea that TikTok's gonna go away, just because it impacted my life in such an unimaginable way. Like you can't really like. There's not really a good way for me to put into perspective how much it changed my life. But I have taken. I've done pretty much everything I can to make sure that if it goes away, it won't affect us in terms of like being full-time content creators and stuff. I think it just means that I'll focus on YouTube even more, and kind of adjust my content to, honestly, it might mean more new videos instead of reposts, because TikTok has kind of forced me to make longer content, and YouTube, it doesn't matter. Like, you get paid whether it's 5 seconds or it's 59 seconds, and they're making it so that up to 3 minutes.
But
Like, it's still
does
being
it
implemented slowly.
Okay.
I don't know. I gotta look into it and see what it's like now. But I think they're just really slow about implementing it because they don't want it to ruin the algorithm, which I respect.
Yeah.
But I'm not going anywhere. I've made a strong effort to prioritize being a filmmaker, and Always Ready is, dude, this last week I made so much progress on the film. It's honestly like kind of, it still hasn't fully hit me.
As someone who was there for the conversation about progress this past week, he has made a pretty significant jump forward, which is awesome.
All I can say is that I've been trying to secure a decently notable name to play the co-lead opposite of me, and it's not officially made a contract, but I have a letter of intent that I've drafted up and just waiting to have signed. You know, they got to go through the representation and stuff, but it's definitely going to generate some buzz, and I can't wait to share it. And we are kind of waiting until the LA Fire stuff dies down to do that, though, because it's just like it just feels like poor taste to announce something like that, you know, while all these other people are struggling right now. But I know that people are gonna get fired up. I definitely think it's gonna be really cool to see what people think about this choice.
Poor choice of words, man.
God damn it. Not fired up. I'm so sorry. That was me not thinking, okay? People are really gonna be damn, now I'm trying to figure out a better thing to say. God damn it.
Hyped up, man. Like,
Hyped up. People are gonna be hyped, okay? I'm sorry. You know that was you let's just move on. I don't think I can make that sound any better. At least I didn't go, no pun intended.
Jesus Christ, man. That and the you know what? I'm not even gonna bring up the other one that we had a while ago.
But anyways, making really good progress, attaching really experienced people. Like we just attached a sound mixer who worked on like Fear the Walking Dead and stuff, so that's cool. Mike, our is it our grip or our gaffer? He worked on Oppenheimer. Our first AC has worked on like every major New Mexico production since like the Book of Eli. That's really cool.
Dang.
Like we have a really experienced crew we're getting together, and I have a really good team behind me. It's really cool to see people look at my script and be like, yeah, this is something I can get behind, and you know they're willing to. They're put it this way, they're willing to start working and attach themselves and stuff like that without us having the budget fully secured yet. Right now, it looks like we'll have the budget fully secured by May, at the very least. I'm going to be reaching out to some local burger joints to see if they'll throw some money at it, or at the very least, let us use their location for free. I'm going to be talking to some breweries to do the same. There's some product placement opportunities for both of those, but I mean, local businesses really get behind stuff. And then with my following, even if we lose TikTok, I still have like 4 million followers. So that's pretty significant. The other thing I'm going to talk about, please don't make a joke out of this, Chris. I'm being serious here. There is a subplot in the film that has to do with my Mustang, because I had one when I was in the military. And I just think what the car represents in terms of like being an American-made car, resembles freedom, you know, all that stuff. I think it's something that Ford might get behind. At the very least, they're going to give me permission, hopefully, to use the car the way I am, because it's so focused on in the film. But they may throw some money at it because it's based on true events and it's a military film, and they have like done a lot of stuff with the military before. So, yeah, there's a lot of conversations going on. There's a lot happening, and it's just gonna snowball. I mean, that's what like I talked to my unit production manager. He's like, dude, like you're doing what you need to do. Like a lot of people just sit around and wait, and then they're like, why isn't this working out? And it's like you were going after it and making it happen. You're having the conversations and stuff. So I'm really excited to share the progress for real. I had mentioned doing an Indiegogo, and I'm still thinking about doing that. It just depends on how it all comes together, because once we start announcing who's attached and stuff like that and getting more names attached, and hopefully getting some sponsorship money, it may not be needed. But I do want to include people. We were playing Marvel Rivals this morning, and I was talking to the group in there, and I believe it was Cal who was like, are you gonna like that he hopes I do the Indiegogo, because he, you know, like they want an opportunity to be like associate producers and stuff like that and get a special thanks and stuff. And I mean, I think once you start seeing who's attached to this thing and stuff, I do think that people will get behind it because of what it is in terms of like a message and stuff like that, and also because it's just like we're getting a really cool like team of talented people together, you know. So I will continue to keep you guys updated. The shot list is so important, man. I've been chipping away at it, and I'm reading a book right now called Directing Film, and it was so interesting. It was basically this director who's made like some really well known like older films that like won a ton of awards back in the day and stuff like that. He like the first chapter, he was basically talking about how the work of a director is the shot list. He was like that the shot list is what you put all your effort into, and then when you go there on the day, you're just following your plan, and that's why it should be fun, because all you have to do is just stick to the plan and everything's smooth, you know, like as long as you plan well, it should be a fun time. That's been my experience with my other films. I overplan to the point where it's like everything's been thought of, you know, and if something does arise, because we're not worried about simple stuff, we can problem solve right away and come up with a fix. And my approach whenever there's a problem is like, okay, let's take a step back. How do we work smarter and not harder? There's got to be an easy way to get around this problem, you know? Change the angle, change the way we approach the scene, whatever it is, you know? As long as it gets the right feeling and message and point of the scene across, like best idea wins, right? So, um yeah, the shot list is 92 scenes. I broke it down into 92 chunks. So we're going to be filming like I think 4 scenes a day.
That doesn't
Um,
sound bad.
no, and I so I we watched a movie last night, and I was talking to Bobby about how it was shot so simple. It was signs, and I'm going to talk
Mm.
about it a little more later. But I was like, that scene is so important, and it was 2 shots, 2 shots. That's how I want to do my film. I want it to feel so simple, but the conversations definitely need to have more cuts and stuff because that's how you make something where people are sitting down and talking more engaging is like you get closer to their faces as it gets more intense and more emotional. And then like when you choose to like cut to a wide shot, that makes you feel something during those moments and stuff, you know? And so that's where I am right now. I'm really thinking about how I want to execute it, how to make it simple, because on a budget, the simpler you can make it, the easier it's going to be to execute in the amount of time you have. Um, but it's fun, but a lot of work. And what stopped me from being able to focus on it more is downloading my 250 TikToks every day for the last month. It's been
How many do you have left?
750 ish.
Oh, you only got a few more days.
Yeah, actually no, I think I'm 500, a little over 500. So I'll be done with it on Monday, because I take Sundays off. I need a day to just turn my brain off, or else I'll go crazy, man.
You're like, I'm almost there. I'm almost done.
Seriously, I'm like, I mean, it's been taking up like 2 to 3 hours of my day every day for the last month, downloading these TikToks, and so being able to put that 2 to 3 hours towards film can make a big difference. I will say that it looks more and more like we are definitely going to be doing this during the summer. We thought that we might be able to do it during spring break, but it's going to be here too quick, and I don't think we'll have all of the funding secured by then.
Yeah.
So, there is a couple production companies that have talked about being involved, and they might throw some financing up. So it's just a lot up in the air right now. I do think that when we announce this attachment, we may get a deadline article out of it, and so that'll help a lot because that just makes it look like a legit project with legit talent behind it and all that. So that'll definitely help when it comes to getting people to support it in terms of financing it and stuff. So yeah, it's exciting stuff. It's happening, man. It's gonna be here before we know it. Like I remember when we were in pre-production for Pollo Loco, we were in pre-production for like 3 months, and it just felt like as it got closer, it was just like more phone calls every day, more meetings, everything, and
Just
like
snowballed.
that's this on steroids. Yeah, and
Yeah.
so it already feels like it's picking up momentum, and it's only the second week of January. Like it's gonna get busy, but I am so excited, man. I've been having a blast doing it. It's a lot of work, and I wouldn't recommend it to somebody who doesn't for sure know that that's their passion. Definitely, like the idea of just starting out and going, I'm gonna make a feature film. I've never made anything. I'm gonna go make a feature film. Terrible idea. Go make a short film first. Even if it's only got a $500 budget and you got to get people to work for you for free, or like pizza, whatever it is, like just seeing how much work it takes to get people to understand the vision you're trying to execute and what the story's about and what you need to make people feel the way that you're trying to get them to is it takes a lot of communication skills, networking skills. You got to make really big judgment calls. you know, because at the end of the day, it is a collaborative effort, and all it takes is one person to either drop the ball or not be as good as they present themselves to be at something, and it affects the entire film. It's so like sketchy.
Yeah.
Like hiring people to work on something that you put all this time, effort, and resources in, like it's crazy. I mean, it's like building a house and the guy who's doing the plumbing sucks, and it's like, oh, this beautiful house, but the shitters don't work, and the plumbing's like the sink, like just like
There's just brown
nothing,
water
you know
coming
what I mean?
out.
Like,
Yeah.
you have this beautiful house, but the plumbing doesn't work. Like, can you imagine? Like, all it takes is one thing, and it's just like the whole house just feels like it's ruined.
Yeah.
That's what it's like to me, and so it's everything I thought it would be, though, man. Making a film, like growing up, dreaming of like what it would be like to like direct a film and stuff. So far, I will say that like it's checked all those boxes that I hoped it would, and like it makes me so satisfied as a like a human being with a passion to like, you know, get to do this, and like the fact that it's actually happening and stuff, you know, it's a beautiful thing, and I definitely don't take it for granted, and I'm trying to make the best film I can, because that's all I can do, right? Like in return is make something that feels special, and like to this day I still every day see reviews for Pollo Loco and seeing people impacted by it, and seeing that they felt something, and it inspired them to try and make their own short film. Like it makes my day when I see stuff like that, man. Like the other day I saw a review, and I like to click on their profiles to see what kind of movies they watch and stuff, like what their favorite films are. And somebody had it in their bio where it was like favorite film, this, favorite TV show, this, favorite short film, Pollo Loco. And I was like, that's so cool, man. Like somebody has that in their profile, that my short
That's
film is their
cool,
favorite
yeah.
short film ever. That's so cool. But anyways,
Ad time.
ad time. Support us on Patreon. If TikTok does go away, that's gonna be Chris's like source of income for doing the podcast, is the Patreon. So pay Chris for his time. It is a lot of work to like get all this stuff done and stay on top of it. And when you're rendering something, like you can't really use your PC to do anything else, you know? So
Yeah.
pay him for his time. We appreciate the support. There's so many benefits to it. If you want to come play Marvel Rivals with us, which is free, I didn't realize until like a couple days ago.
I didn't know either
It's a
until
lot of
today.
fun.
So
I think
yeah.
it's better than Overwatch.
that's not saying much because Overwatch sucks.
Overwatch 2 sucks, but the original Overwatch didn't suck.
Uh, Debatable. But
It's a team game. Like, I don't know. But anyways, it's been really fun gaming with everybody. I think we're gonna play Marvel Rivals again next week, unless something new comes out with Call of Duty, which I don't think anything's happening soon.
no,
So,
it's the most that's going to come out is some announcement saying, "Here's what's going to be in season 2." That's it.
Yeah. um,
Better be a new zombies map
yeah.
that doesn't suck.
Join our Discord. I update people in there about the film first before anywhere else, because that's like, you know, our little community, and like I like to share things early in there and stuff, because you know you guys are there supporting stuff. Use G Fuel code Danny D, get you some G Fuel. They just dropped the Drop Shot citrus flavor. I did a really cool TikTok video and it bombed, but it's
Drop shot citrus. What is that inspired by?
Mandarin orange. Oh, it's just like military games, you know, like drop shotting.
Oh, military. You mean FPS games? Bro,
I
just
haven't seen any other FPS games where you can like jump and go prone and stuff than like
well,
military
yeah, but
ones.
I feel like drop shotting is a Call of Duty term.
It's a military themed flavor. Okay, it looks like a military game. It's Mandarin orange, which used to be the Contra flavor. It's really good. I'm drinking it right now. Very refreshing. No, I'm just- use code Danny D for Fit Butters. Frosted animal cookie, so good.
So does it? You said it actually has frosted animal. Wow.
It's good. I've got so much Fit Butters. You can see like I think the freaking top of the shelf starting to bow Like it's like
I think you're right,
I just
man.
sag.
There's an
There's so
arc
much
there.
weight on it. Yeah, but it's great stuff, guys. I've been eating it with a spoon. I'll just like, oh, I need some energy here, like calorie wise, before I go for a run. And like 30 minutes before, I'll just eat a spoonful of Fit Butters, and boom, my workout's fueled. I really like putting it on bagels too. I think that's my favorite thing to put it on.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, code Danny D for Fit Butters and G Fuel. I'm sure G Fuel's coming out with some new flavors this month. Fit Butters dropped a bunch, man. There's something for everybody
It
on
seems
there,
like
and it's great stuff.
they're coming out with lots of stuff. Fit Butters, I mean, like
And I know the CEO, and she is a wonderful human being. So yeah,
nice.
definitely support Fit Butters. It's great stuff. It's high quality. I don't think I've ever had a bad experience. The only thing was that apple pie. No, the caramel apple flavor. I wasn't a fan of the texture of the apples in it, but I mean, what are you gonna do? They're like dried apples, you know.
Yeah.
Can't really do anything about that. But I mean, it tastes good. I just wasn't a fan of like the actual experience of eating it. Like I think there's just so many other flavors that are so much better. But that's the only one I would say steer clear from.
And
All the other ones are great.
and you're not saying it's bad. You're just saying it's not your
It's a
preference.
texture thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I couldn't imagine putting it on anything because of what it is, you know.
Yeah.
Dude, that that what is it? Banana maple French toast.
Yeah.
That one is delicious, man.
Well, yeah,
Holy
that was like
shit, so
when
good.
you mentioned that was a flavor, and I was immediately like, I know that's gonna be the one that I like.
I love banana. Like it just tastes good. Um,
Well, it's also just a good combination because it's like
Good source of potassium.
God, it's because like it's like somebody got like a banana nut muffin, right?
Yeah,
Like yeah,
that's yeah. Because it's sweeter like a muffin, not
yeah,
like banana bread is a little less sweet, I feel like. And this
yeah,
is more like a muffin. Like, yeah.
yeah.
Really good, man. And it goes so good on bagels. Anyways, support us with all that stuff. We appreciate it, guys. You guys are awesome. If TikTok goes away, like I said, we need your support. No giveaways this week, but next week I'm going to be giving away those Winter White Shakers and 2 tubs of PewDiePie Hydration and a Blu-ray copy of The Departed, which is a great Martin Scorsese film. On to our Patreon questions. If you join the Patreon, you can ask a question, and it looks like we've got 3 this week. Nikki says, if you had to pick one of these to live without, which one would it be? Chipotle, G Fuel, Taco Bell, and Fit Butters. I hate you for this, Nikki. Why would you make me answer a question like this? If I had a gun pointed to my head and I had to choose one, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think Taco Bell would go.
Really?
All the other ones are healthy, man. Like Chipotle, I could eat every day and not feel like shit. G Fuel, I drink it every day and I love it. Fit Butters, it's good for you. I love the product. Taco Bell, as much as I love it and how delicious it how delicious it is, and how it's like my favorite fast food place, I don't always feel great after I eat it.
Wow.
You know?
See, because I was gonna say Chipotle, but it's also because I don't really eat Chipotle, so.
Yeah, that makes sense. But
So
dude, Chipotle is so good. I
I
love their queso.
if Taco Bell knew how to freaking separate their ingredients when they're making your food, then it wouldn't be such. Bro, the amount of times I've gotten a freaking quesadilla and there's like tomatoes and lettuce in there when it's like it's freaking plain. Why is there tomato and lettuce like chunks in my quesadilla? That is the
I
easiest
don't
thing to
know.
make. But also, why am I getting quesadilla from freaking Taco Bell? That's the real question. But
I really hope Taco Bell brings back those nuggets, man. I loved those nuggets, and I didn't feel like crap after I ate them because it was like legit, like chicken breast inside it. It was like the closest thing I've seen is like Chick-fil-A in terms of like nugget quality. Like that was a little less quality than Chick-fil-A. Like because it's still like super fried and like a lot of breading, but they use tortilla chips for the breading, so it has like a really crispy crunch to it, and jalapeno buttermilk batter, so it has flavor to it. Like they're so good and so much protein. 10 nuggets, 72 grams of protein.
bro, I know your fart smelled awful afterwards.
Anyways,
You're like, yeah, they did.
Super Dude 01 says, "What toppings do you like on your pizza?" You want to go first?
Pepperoni.
What the? Why would you say it like that?
That's it though. I mean,
You just ruined pepperoni for me.
like I remember we used to get that.
Pepperoni. What
Uh,
the hell?
um, Walmart has those like pizzas where it would come in like that like brown box, right? And like we
Yeah,
used to get pizza with like the Canadian bacon on it, which is just ham, but it wasn't bad. But
I hate Canadian
we
bacon
we
on
used to
pizza.
get we used to get the bacon on the pizza from Domino's, and I got tired of that. Like pepperoni is all that I really need on pizza.
I've thought about trying that viral Domino's pizza. Have you seen that? It's
No?
like white sauce, bunch of stuff. It looks so good, and I do want to try it, but it is like the pizza is like 3,500 calories because they add so much shit to
Well,
it.
isn't white sauce just like Alfredo?
Kinda.
Well, what is it?
Uh, what is white sauce on a pizza? It's a creamy dairy-based sauce, often similar to Alfredo, but made with ingredients like butter, flour, milk, cheese, usually Parmesan. Used as its yeah, okay. Ricotta. It oftentimes has ricotta in it.
Mm.
So a little different than Alfredo, but similar.
I think
Um,
what really makes
it's
a
very good.
pizza so like unique is the crust. Because like the pretzel crust pizza from Little Caesars, ooh, or stuffed
Yeah,
crust will make a huge difference as well. Was it Papa John's that did the pepperoni stuffed crust? Was
I don't
Pop?
know, but I Little Caesars is definitely my favorite stuffed crust.
Yeah, I got that. It was a
Pizza
stuffed.
Hut, like it's like rubbery.
Dude, I haven't had Pizza Hut in so long.
Why would you? Like Little Caesars is cheaper, and I think it's better.
I just wish Domino's would bring back their breadsticks.
I honestly like I don't know if it was just San Francisco, but I had so many bad experiences with Domino's in San Francisco. I just fell out of love with them.
Dude, that's such a shame because Domino. I told you like my infinite pizza strat where I would order pizza from Domino's and there was a Domino's I was like a mile away and like literally I could have just driven there and got it myself, right? But I would order
Yeah.
delivery and they would always take forever to deliver it. And so then they would send me an email because they would take more than half an hour and they'd be like, wow, we really messed that order up. We should probably make it up to you. And I would get a free pizza every time, right?
Every
Only
time.
reason why I would get Domino's is because they would always give me a free pizza. They give
I
out
mean,
free pizzas all the
I,
time.
I do like the taste of their dough.
Their seasoning's really good, but
Yeah,
I,
but
I I really wish that first off, what a scam that if you buy thin crust, which is like literally a third of no, not even a third, like a fifth of the height of a normal freaking pizza, it costs the same. Are you kidding me?
yeah,
What is that about, man?
the profit they're making on that is crazy.
Yeah, dude. Oh,
It's good though. I
thanks
do
for
like the thin crust pizza.
dude. They're serving freaking cheese, pepperoni, and tomato sauce on construction paper, and they're charging you
I
twenty five
remember
dollars
mom would
for it.
always get, we would always get a normal one, and then mom would get a thin crust, and I would always end up having at least one slice of it because it is good.
Whenever I get Domino's, I get both, and I will get the marinara sauce, and I will dip the pizza in that.
I do like their marinara.
The marinara is very good. Yeah.
Yeah, but I do crazy sauce is very good. I like their crazy sauce at Little Caesars. That's every time I get a stuffed crust pizza, I get my own thing of crazy sauce and dip that bitch.
Yeah.
But anyways, my toppings on a pizza, um, normally if I'm going all out, I get pepperoni, Italian sausage. Is it? I can't remember if it's because some places have more than one type of sausage. I like the little sausage crumble things. And then mushrooms. I really like mushrooms on a pizza.
I've had
Oh.
mushrooms on pizza a couple times, and it was like kind of okay.
It definitely depends on the place. I've had experiences where I'm like, they don't do their
I
mushrooms
think
right.
we got it from like Ronnie's in Yuma.
I forgot that place existed. Village Inn, I crave sometimes.
Dude, dude, I was so disappointed. So when I went and visited mom and dad for Thanksgiving, we got Village Inn, and so I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but I'm pretty sure they put onion on the pizza, like in small chunks. Okay, Bro, these guys like literally it was like giant chunks this time. Like I don't know if they
Oh,
got some new guy, but I would bite into the pizza and I would get
sucked.
you know how like onion kind of has the it's like you bite into it and you can tell it's an onion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't like. Was it like kind of fresh onion? Like it wasn't like like it didn't get cooked very much because I like caramelized onions. I like grilled or
It
caramelized
wasn't
onion.
like crispy or anything. It was like literally it felt like God, it 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 was like too thick. Like you could feel like a crunch and you're like what the like it's just,
Yeah.
it's almost like
Um,
lettuce.
we found we found a New York style pizza place here downtown. Phenomenal. Next time mom and dad come here, we're gonna like go downtown to the zoo or whatever and pick up a couple of pizzas from there or something. 'Cause
Yeah.
it was it's like thin to the point where it's like you're meant to fold it. Like it's so good, man. Like
See,
really good sauce.
I don't like floppy pizza. I like crispy pizza, which is why I like the
It
thin
was
crust from
crispy.
Domino's. But is it like a
It was
cracker crust?
no, not that crispy, but
See,
like
I like it that crispy.
like when you fold it in half, it kind of breaks because it's that
Okay. Yeah, then that's
yeah,
fair. Yeah. No, that probably is
really
better.
good, really good. Anyways, our last question from Tommy Slays: if you could try any food from a movie or TV show, what food item would you choose and why? I think I would like to try some of the stuff you see on The Bear.
What like give examples?
Like you just, I mean, that whole show, you're just watching them make food, like like Michelin star food, and it just all looks like interesting and like the flavor combinations and stuff. It's like saying, oh, I want to try the food from Ratatouille, you know, but like real, because they're really making it and shit.
Man, I don't know cuz I have you seen Chef?
Yeah,
Yeah,
like a
so
Cuban sandwich.
no, it was the I was gonna give an example of something that I've actually tried that was from a movie. So the grilled cheese from that
Mm,
movie. So there's a scene where God, what's his name? John Favreau? Is that what his name is?
yeah,
Um, so
legend.
he's making a sandwich for his daughter, I believe,
I remember
and
that.
you see him make the grilled cheese, and of course, so he's a like gourmet chef, and I'm like, well, like what is a gourmet grilled cheese? Like, how do you make that better? And I go and look it up, and it was like, I think it's Gruyere is how you say it, and then it was white cheddar, yellow cheddar, and Parmesan on sourdough bread that you cook in olive oil. And bro, it was like the best grilled cheese I'd ever had, right? That I was so glad that I tried that. But as far as one that I have not tried that I'm genuinely like, man, I wish I could try that. There's really not much. I mean, the classic is always a freaking Krabby Patty. Um,
Which we tried from Wendy's, and it was fine.
that's not the same, man.
They
Like
had a sauce on it and everything, like the show.
it's not the same.
It's as
It's
close as you're ever gonna get,
I don't think so.
unless you make your own.
There was like the sandwich from Adventure Time. I don't remember what was on it, but I remember
Spaghetti. I remember we tried spaghetti
spaghetti
tacos and it
tacos.
was
You guys,
awful.
yeah,
It was not
um,
good.
yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know. There's not a lot of foods that from shows that I or TV that I've wanted to try. I don't know, but I'm also picky, so that's like someone that they always ruin it by adding some ingredient to it. And I'm like, oh, okay, I wouldn't want that. Oh, I'm gonna put
Yeah.
tomatoes on the sandwich. Okay, thanks, man. No, I'm not interested.
I sometimes like tomatoes, but it's got to be the right thing, and it's got to be like fresh tomato and like not too thick sliced. I hate thick sliced tomato.
Dude, what about the okay? Do you remember the episode of SpongeBob where they put jellyfish jelly on the freaking Krabby Patties?
What the hell?
So I'm not saying I want to try that, but like jellyfish jelly has to taste
Not a
so
real
good, bro. Like imagine if that was an
like.
actual thing, bro.
Jeez, man. I mean, it
Jellyfish
probably just
jelly,
tastes
man.
like jelly.
No, but it's jellyfish jelly, so it's probably like salty.
Oh, how does that make it better?
Well, dude, you don't want to add savory to your sweet? That's
That's a
kind of
straight up salt. Like,
hey
this
man.
makes me think. Have
He
you ever had
who
seaweed? It makes me feel like it tastes like seaweed but jelly.
he who has not tasted grapes says sour, my friend. Okay, just what are you giving me that look for,
Yeah.
bro? If you haven't tried it, I know I'm being a hypocrite by saying that, but I'm just saying, like, if you haven't tried it, don't knock it. Okay, maybe it tastes good.
What, jellyfish jelly?
Yes, yeah, maybe it's good.
Anyways, guys, thank you for your questions this week. Join the Patreon for as little as $1 if you want to ask your question and have it featured on the podcast. Our weekly gaming talk. I said Black Ops 6 / general gaming talk because I have not touched Black Ops 6 in over a week.
I tried to
No,
play.
about a week.
I tried to
A
play
week.
yesterday, and then I ended up falling asleep.
Like I said, if I do hop on Call of Duty anytime in the near future, it'll be to play zombies most likely. I don't really have an urge to camo grind. Even though it's a pretty easy camo grind this cycle, but
Well, you know what ruins it? It's this freaking tryhards. They get it in like the first week. I'm like, dude, are you serious? Like,
yeah, they just know life it.
yeah, because like then people, oh, I found the perfect strat to get it. It's like, so you're not even actually getting the camo. You're just like getting a rubber band, taping it to the trigger on your controller, and just letting it rip. Like that's so boring. Like it ruins
Like,
it, everybody else.
do you remember the old Call of Duty days where you could hop into a cage match and boost?
Yeah, I remember boosting. I
I
did,
am guilty. I've boosted a few times.
well, yeah,
Me and my
you'd
friends
be
would
on
just hop
Xbox
in a match
Live.
and we just
Yeah,
yeah.
and sometimes you get a message and they'd be like, "Hey man, you want to boost?" And then people would get banned for boosting.
I think that was like Modern Warfare 2, and that you would get banned.
Yeah,
Cage match was still a thing, and they cracked down on it. But yeah, I mean, if you don't know what boosting is, so they had this mode called cage match, which is basically like 1v1, small maps, and you would if you guys both agreed to boost, which on Xbox Live sometimes people wouldn't have a mic, so they would send you a message like, it'd be
yeah.
like and they'd be like boost, and you're like, and you're just like okay, and then so like you guys would you would take turns. Like I think was it up to 15 kills or 30 kills? I don't remember.
But you'd go one before, and then switch. You would switch until
Oh, you're
yeah.
talking about no, I'm talking about a cage match. So it's 1v1. And so basically what you would do is you would sometimes it was a gamble because like you would basically agree to both get up until it was like 1 kill away from
That's what
like
I'm
winning
saying.
the
Yeah,
match.
yeah.
And so like it would be like, so say the to win the match you need 30 kills. And so like one person would get up to 29 by just like getting attacked. So in Modern Warfare 2, you could get a tactical insertion, which made it really easy because you would just die and then spawn,
Yeah.
and then spawn. And so you just get your headshots, right? Like 29 headshots, and then switch. The next person gets their 29 headshots, and then somebody ends the match. Usually you would like fight for the last kill. And then so like that was a way to camo grind. But sometimes you would get fucked because like you would let them go first and they would get up to 29 and then you go to do yours and they just kill you and get the 30 and just leave immediately. It was like, you motherfucker! I'm like, not a finger! Like,
Yeah, no, because yeah, what I was saying is, yeah, you would go up to just to one before, because then you wouldn't go to 30, you go to 29, and then that's how you'd like min max it. But yeah, you'd have
I
somebody
still think
who
that
would screw you over.
Modern Warfare 2 is my favorite because of stuff like that, but I also liked the kill streaks, and there was kill streak glitches where people found out like, oh,
The
if you do
one man
this,
army.
you can call in like just endless supply drops where it drops 3 care packages and
Oh, holy crap! I remember that
Yeah, you
because
remember
they
that
had
shit?
because they had you could just get a care package, and then what was the one where it would drop like 3 of them?
the supply drop or emergency supply
It was
drop.
yeah, it wasn't it was an emergency. It was emergency. I think I don't know if it was just supply drop or what.
Like they
but-
just don't do stuff like that anymore. You know what I mean? Like it was always fun because like it drops 3 in a straight line, and sometimes if one of them would hit in the right spot, it would like bounce and like ragdoll and kill someone.
yeah, because I remember
So chaotic.
yeah, like and usually they would land on people and it would kill them and
So I'd be like, "Arr!" It's like
well I think what we used to do, oh dude, couldn't you like stack them, like you could get yeah And oh man,
I remember, one time I was in a match and some guy's like, "Oh hell no, this guy's AFK," and he drops a care packet like the smoke like right next to his feet, and the guy's just standing there, and like I like stop, and he's like, "Watch this shit," and then it just like drops the care package and kills the guy. And he's like, "Yeah, that's what you get, bitch," and like the guy like gets kicked for inactivity like immediately after that. But it was just like, dude.
well, so
Oh
I remember
hell
I
no.
saw a video recently. So do you remember the Black Hat hacker thing from Black Ops 2? Where you would hold it and you could hack someone's care package and you would claim it
Yeah.
from a range.
Well, some of them you could like booby trap it so that when they would come to claim it, it would explode.
I think that was a perk, but the Black Hat hacker was like an actual piece of equipment. And so I saw this compilation where like people were hopping on a Black Ops 2 and they were just like using the Black Hat to hack care packages, and someone was like, "Oh my God, I got a chopper gunner," and then they would get hacked, and they'd be like, "No!" They would
Yeah.
lose their chopper gunner.
I loved
Like,
the way the kill streaks popped up in Modern Warfare 2 as well. It'd be
yeah, yeah.
like you
Well,
see what's on above.
I think another part was so one it yeah when they would scream that, right, it made you feel
Dude,
like
yeah, like
you would feel like
when
you're
you
in
called in
danger.
a kill streak, yeah,
Yeah.
like the freaking like the like you would hear like the Middle Eastern guy just like, "I see what's on above."
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
oh fuck.
Yeah,
You're like, "Ah."
yeah, well, and that's the thing that's like really a shame about like one thing that Black Ops 6 really
Tactical
doesn't.
nuke incoming. Boom, boom,
Yeah, one thing that
boom,
Black Ops 6
boom.
really doesn't do right is you have some lady she's all enemy chopper gunner inbound. It's like, bro, are you serious? Like, this is a
It
big
doesn't
deal.
hype you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're like, oh, I gotta get inside now. Womp womp. Like that's really what it feels like. Whereas like when someone's screaming in your ear, you're like, oh my God, I'm in a war zone right now. Like I'm gonna
Yeah.
get murdered if I don't get inside.
Yeah.
Right?
Dude,
And
I
then,
mean,
dude, the fact that like the care packages or not the care packages, these the kill streaks, it wasn't just like, oh, you get a care package, then you get a UAV, and then a freaking no, it was like you had tiers of them. So because you had the one where it was just one care package, and then if you got like another 5 kills, there's one where you get 3 of them. It was like you could just take the gamble of getting one care package hoping to get something good, or if you're good enough, you could get a much higher chance of getting something good, right? Or you can get 3 good kill streaks from the care packages, or you can help out your team. Like there was more to it than just, oh, I got this thing that makes it so I could kill more people for 30 seconds. Like
yeah.
that's not
Well,
exciting, man.
I was gonna say, was it which game was it? Was it oh it was Infinite Warfare. It came with Modern Warfare Remastered if you got like the highest edition,
Yeah.
right? And the Modern Warfare Remastered did better than Infinite Warfare in terms of like multiplayer numbers.
Yeah.
I don't know why they don't just release like a like Black Ops Remaster or whatever and like do that while they like to buy more time in order to make the like a
That's
new game that's better.
that's the exact
Because
question I've asked for
they
so long,
talked
dude.
about doing Modern Warfare 2 remastered, and I'm telling you, that would have probably been the only Call of Duty that would have gotten me to No Life because
Well,
I that
yeah.
has so much nostalgia for me.
I think what they're worried about, one, is monetization, and two, there's going to be a lot of people who are alienated by it. Because a lot of people who remember Modern Warfare 2, right? Yeah, they'll go back and play it, but what about all the people who are used to games like Black Ops 6 where things are a lot different? And they go back to this other game, they're like, this is super like first off, there's no like complicated movement system. You don't have like sliding and stuff like that, so it feels slower. But also like the progression that you have in the newer games, where you have the battle pass, you have these events that happen, like all that stuff, right? Unless they were to make new stuff, which there's going to be an argument about that. Like unless they have that, there's a lot of people who are like, this isn't the same game that I'm used to, right? Like there's
Yeah,
features
well,
that are missing from the older
my
games.
biggest problem with Modern Warfare Remastered was the stupid what do they call it?
The care
Supply drops?
packages, there's supply drops, yeah.
Yeah, so it was like the Black Cell thing or whatever that what was it? Black Ops 3 had where like you could
No, Black Ops
get random shit. It
oh,
was like
Black Market. Yeah,
Black market, yeah.
yeah.
Like the randomized loot gambling shit
And
that ruined it for
d-
me. And
so
so if they did it without that, I think it would be a hit.
so Advanced Warfare was the one that started that. And Advanced Warfare did it really well in my opinion because it was all like
It wasn't forced like the other ones, I feel like.
well, you could
as
you
much.
could you could always get stuff for free, right? And
Yeah.
I don't get me wrong, I bought supply drops. Like I was like 13 or something
Yeah,
like
me
that buying
too.
supply drops, right? But like I liked
Including
it because
crypto.
it wasn't like getting like you wouldn't get a currency that you could use to buy supply drops. You would just get a supply drop. Like you'd be in the middle of a match and you would hear boom, and then the little supply drop icon would pop up, and you're like, yes, I'm gonna open that up after the match is over, right? And then you'd be like, all right, man, I have this outfit set. All I need is the pants. Just give me the pants. I just need the pants, right? And then you would get like a white, a green, and then you'd hear, elite, and then like you'd be like, yeah, like
That noise.
So I really liked how supply drops were in that game, but the complaint people had was you could get variants of guns, which is what Infinite Warfare did. And
Yeah.
people were like, dude, you're telling me I can get a gun that has better stats and it's random. So if I buy supply drops, I can get a gun that's just better. Like it just has better damage, right? And that was
Yeah.
where it really started to get kind of weird because you get in that territory of pay to win, right? If it was supply drops, but it was
Exactly.
only cosmetics, right? Fine with me. Completely fine with me. When you start adding in
Yeah.
mechanics that let you be better at the game, even the freaking gobblegums from Black Ops 3. Really, dude? Really, dude? Like the fact that you can buy 100 liquid divinium and just spin that crap for an hour, dude. People would do streams of that crap. You have Noah J456 doing a 1,000 liquid divinium unboxing or whatever, and he'd be like, oh, I need,
1,000,
dude,
damn.
he'd be like, okay, I need perkaholics. I need perkaholics because if I'm gonna be doing Easter egg hunts or whatever, right, I gotta have perkaholics. And he would get like 20 of them, right? And it's like, what's the point of playing the game at this point, man? Like, you have a thing that makes so that every time you go into a match, you just get all the perks. There's no progression in zombies anymore. Like, what fun are you
Yeah.
having? So like stuff like that, I didn't like, but I think if they did supply drops and it was only cosmetics, that'd be fine with me.
Yeah. The other thing I wanted to talk about is uh first of all, let me touch on this real quick. Marvel Rivals is great. I'm really impressed. It's a lot of fun. It's cool playing as all the different Marvel characters. They even got like some. So we were like, oh, you can play as Iron Fist. And it's funny. Case Carnage's like, get Moon Knight out of here. Like, it's like random shit, like. But he's like, no, actually, Moon Knight's pretty good. And Hulk. So like Bruce Banner's like an actual little dude, but then he changes into the Hulk, right? So
Uh-huh.
like when he's the little guy, you can kill him. He's super easy, but when he's the Hulk, he's like a tank and has like 800 health. And when he goes, it's hulking time or whatever, right? Or like, I'm hulking out. Like I was like, I'm tweaking.
I'm twerking. Well, I've seen some clips from the game, and it's kind of having that same thing that Helldivers had, where it's like people are really getting into the memes and stuff like that, which is always good to
Helldiver's
see.
making a comeback.
I did see it, dude. I was thinking about trying it because
They added a new enemy type.
yeah, and it's like basically like zombies, bro. That's what it looked like to me.
How many teammates can you have? Like up to 3 or 4?
I think it's squads of 4.
Yeah, I might download that again, man, because it's such a cool idea. Did you see that Sony's making a movie, the Helldivers movie?
I did see that. So, you know what?
I hope they do it right.
On the topic
I hope
of
they do it
of
right.
Helldivers and of Call of Duty, one thing that has always pissed me off about Call of Duty that Helldivers did really well, battle passes stay. So if a battle pass ends, right? It's in the background. Now if you play later, you can put your progress towards that battle pass. So it
Yeah.
gives you a reason to know life the game if you take a month off. You get off and you go, "Hey
I
man,
think that's so fair, man.
dude,
letting
that's
people
so
still have
fair."
the
Yeah.
ability to get something, yeah.
Yeah, because then people don't feel like they have to play the game as like a chore. That's what Destiny 2 did wrong. Anytime there was an event, it felt like I had to play it or else I was missing out on it. Like, oh
I'm sorry.
man,
I'm still laughing at the I'm tweaking. Like
what
I'm tweaking out.
I just Destiny 2, by the way, that game, like, I know I always say, oh, the game's dying, but I think like I was going on Twitter and I was seeing like they're saying that the most recent event, there's a thing that says, oh, hey, you did this challenge, you can buy a reward from Bungie.net, and they had a placeholder image for it, like in the game. It was a finalized like reward screen, and it had a placeholder image with like it was all pink and stuff. And I'm like, bro, are you serious? Like they don't even care about the game anymore. Like that game's falling apart. And it's like, yeah, well, when you don't incentivize people to play the game because it's fun, and more so it's just because like, oh, well, you spent $60 on this game plus $60 for the DLC plus the next DLC and DLC after that, and then the battle pass, right? It's like you've already sunk so much money into it. Now it feels like you have to play it. Like, I hate that. Let me play the game because it's fun.
Marvel Rivals. I was playing as Venom. That was like the first character I tried. And I was like, man, because they all have like their own little like one-liners they say, right?
Right.
Like the Punisher's my main right now. 'Cause I like his turret and stuff like that. But so they all say stuff like the Punisher's like, my family is gone, but I continue, but I fight in their honor or something like that. And I'm like, I wish like Venom actually sounds close to like, he sounds like Venom. Like he'll be like, we are Venom, right? I was like, I wish it was like Venom 3 was like, Jesus Christ.
Well, I there's some meme that I keep seeing about some shark that's in the game.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, you can they have like these special abilities where if you team up, like the smaller characters can hop on the back of like tanks and stuff. So like Rocket can hop on like the Punisher's back, but I saw like Groot, he had the shark. The shark's like a healer. And so Groot's going around just like slapping people with his branches, and the shark's on his back like spitting like water.
Well,
It's really fun, dude. You gotta try it.
I saw that you could, if you're playing as the Hulk, you can like throw Wolverine at people.
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
And that's a cool mechanic that you can like have team synergy like that.
yeah. Well, for such a new game, because it came out like a month ago or
I
something.
think so, yeah.
There is so many characters to choose from. Like I haven't even touched. I've played as I started out as Venom. He was really fun. I played Iron Man. He has like 250 health, but like if you're really good at dodging, he's a nuisance, man. Everybody hates him.
I was gonna say
and
I'd probably play as Iron Man because I'm just a loser.
his ultimate is like devastating, man. Because he just like sends like a giant like
So
arc.
is
thing.
it both heroes and villains, or is it just heroes?
It's funny because when you choose, it's like choose your hero, villain. I'm not judging or whatever, like, and like, but I mean, there's like 30 different like people to choose from or something like that. That's just a guesstimate. There might even be more than that.
They're probably gonna add more.
Oh, definitely. I saw that. But like, what's really cool is like if you go to the store, they have like for the cosmetics, it's like, oh, here's like the Thor skin from like Thor Ragnarok, or here's the skin from like No Way Home, and like it's got
Yeah.
the spider arms and
Well,
stuff.
I'd probably
Um,
if there was any cosmetic that I would get, I bet you if they have like a bleeding edge suit or like a like Iron Man cosmetics, because I always thought the suits that they had for him were really cool.
I always thought the Iron Patriot looked dope. Captain America, I'm like, oh, Tommy, I see you, America's ass, like, you know. But dude, it's a really fun, like, not super try hard game.
That's the
Like,
biggest thing.
Yeah, it's very casual.
I feel like a lot of games nowadays are very like try. That's why I don't like Valorant, because it's like you go into that. I remember the story I always tell about that freaking game. I was like always playing with you guys on stream, right? I'm like, oh, I'll hop into a match by myself so I can get some matches in so I can play ranked, right? You had to do like
Yeah.
you had to win like 10 matches in casual in order to play ranked. I go in this match and I'm solo queuing, and some loser with his Discord e-girl is playing, and he dies earlier in the match, and I'm in this match doing a 1v3 in a game I play like once a month, right? And I kill one guy and then I die. Whatever, not a big deal. This guy starts calling me the N-word for losing a 1v3, right? And I was like,
Damn.
all right, fine, I'm just throwing. So I ended up waiting in the spawn for like 2 more rounds, and at the end of each round, I would go and just like waste time and then get myself killed to waste their time because I was like, this guy clearly cares too much about this game. Like I'm gonna throw, right?
You're just raging.
Yeah, and I ended up getting kicked, but I was like, dude, it's first off, this is a casual match, and second, how is this guy not like bannable? Like he's literally like throwing slurs at me right now, bro. Like really? So like those games, people try hard way too much. That's what ruins it for me. That's why,
Yeah,
like I said, like that's why Call of Duty gets so
Oh,
frustrating.
okay, two other things. I think I played like 10 matches. You have to get to level 10 to unlock competitive. So, and
I
it
would
takes a
not
long
I
time
would
to
not play comp though. That's
it takes a long time to level up. I'm curious. I want to see what it's like and how sweaty it is, and I don't know, it's just
unless
something to
there's
grind.
unless there's
But
rewards, but
I've played like 10 matches and I haven't encountered a single bug. It's been such a smooth
whoa.
experience. The other thing, there's so many people playing it because it's basically like Fortnite level big right now. You click find match,
Yeah, it's just
and
instant.
it immediately like it's kind of scary how fast it is. It's just like click
What is
match found.
there's no skill-based matchmaking for casual?
Not that I've seen so far. Like yeah, I've had matches where I'm like, damn, we got our asses handed to us, boys.
Dude, because I was
You know, and then I've seen other matches where I'm like, these guys suck, but it's
I
fun.
yeah, that sounds about right. Because there's times where I've seen clips of people like hopping into a match on Black Ops 2 or Modern Warfare 2, and you hit find match, TDM, right? And instantly you hear what was that one sound that you would hear? It was in COD 4 where it sounded like something like locking, right? Do you remember that like when he would get to a lobby, they would play that sound
It was
effect?
like,
Yeah,
like yeah.
that. Yeah, you immediately hear that as soon as they,
And then
they
the
press the
lobby
button.
music.
And then you hear somebody with their because they had the really bad voice compression in the voice chat, and so you hear somebody like, "Oh, right shield, you're using a right shield." Like, dude, that's what I really miss is when you didn't waste time just sitting there waiting for a match to be found. So yeah, I'll probably try the game out then if it.
I'm gonna play with Theo, I think, since it's free.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea, dude. Yeah.
I'll probably love it. Yeah. Oh, but the last thing I wanted to say is like, other than that, like, I gotta be honest, man. Like, I just don't get much satisfaction out of gaming anymore. I think story games it's still possible because it's like a different experience, but like, I mean, I'm excited about GTA 6, but I'm not excited about the amount of time it's gonna take to play it. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, Ben Genie Boy, he said something a long time ago that stuck with me, and it's such a silly thing, but he lost a bunch of weight, and I was like, dude, like you look good. What you like? You know what motivated you? And he's like, honestly, I just like I thought about it like a RPG character. It's like okay, like I'm gonna level up my health meter or whatever, you know, like, and I'm like, life. If you treat life like a game, it's like whatever you know, whatever time you spend gaining attribute towards whatever skill you want, you know. And so it's like, yeah, for me right now it's filmmaking, putting time towards filmmaking. And so the idea of like spending time playing a game that like doesn't really affect anything else in your life just seems like a waste of time. But
Yeah.
like even watching, like people might make fun of how much I go to the movies and stuff like that, but I'm learning while I do that. I'm studying the film. I'm gaining perspective,
Yeah. Well, that's
you
what,
know.
what like when so at work, what happens a lot is you'll have people who, they're on downtime, right? And they're like, man, like I feel like there's never any work here, this and that. And so what they'll do is they'll just straight up watch YouTube, and that's like a very common thing. They'll just watch YouTube. And I'm like, yeah, but like that's what I do when I'm at home and I'm like either eating or like I'm just trying to relax, right? If I'm at work, I want to be busy. Like I'm getting
You,
paid, and so I
you
will.
like reading books?
No. But I was gonna say what I usually do with my time is I try and learn something because it's like if I'm gonna get paid, I might as well like do something productive, right? So
Yeah.
I that's why like a big thing I do at work is I like learn to code. I just get
Yeah,
better
well,
at
I was gonna
coding.
say I noticed that I'm one of those people. I don't think I can listen to audiobooks. It's just not
I
my
can't do
brain
that.
doesn't
Yeah.
absorb my brain doesn't absorb the information the same. Like there's something about reading a book where it just like I don't know. It's like I can feel like a beam of energy going to my brain of knowledge. Like
I can I tried reading books again.
it has to be a
Uh,
book on something that I'm interested in though. Like if somebody handed me a book on meditation, I would be like, bro, this is just boring as hell.
I think a big problem for me is stuff like reading. It's like if I'm gonna do that, I need to be in a specific environment where it feels like I don't have to worry about anything. So
I like
it
reading before bed. Calms me
uh
down.
I think I need to not have a concept of time if I'm reading because I want to be able to get lost in it, right? Like that's one thing that I really liked about playing video games when I was like, still in high school, right? I get off of work at like Best Buy or I'd get home from school and I'd come home and it's like, well, what else do I have to do for the day? Nothing. Like I'm good, right? And I didn't have to
Yeah.
worry about bills, didn't have to worry about chores, like aside from taking the trash out, right? I just sit down and I play a game and that's all I do, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
it's like
I can't
now I can't
remember
do that.
I don't remember what movie it was or if it was a TikTok or something I saw, but it really stuck with me and I think I want to tackle this idea in a movie someday. But it was about the idea that like if you think about it, like I think the one I hear a lot is like riding around on bikes with your friends. Like one day you parked your bike
And you never
and
got
you
back
never
on.
rode it again.
Yeah.
You know? And like you didn't realize at the time the significance of that. And I think back like dad getting mad because all I did was sit around and play Call of Duty for like 10 hours a day in my underwear. You know, like come on, go mow the lawn or something, do something, you know? Like and then I would go do what he said and then I'd come back and get right back on. But like the idea that like there was a point in time where I could play video games without any like worry about responsibilities or time or anything like that.
Yeah.
Like now, at the big one for me because I'm a dad is like I can spend this time with my kids that I'm never gonna get back. You know, that's the
Yeah.
thing that it's like
But
at least with filmmaking, it's like the time that I'm putting into that makes it more special. Like that is valuable. But like playing a video game, it's like I think that's why I give up on camo grinds because it's like if you the closer you get to that next game coming out, it's like nobody's gonna give a shit if you had dark matter in a Call of Duty game that came out 6 years ago.
and that is why I genuinely think they need to just make a game that they update all the time as opposed to having a separate game every freaking year. I get the point of having a new game because you're allowed to add new mechanics and stuff like that. But then all of your progress does not matter.
Yeah, well, I think it's okay. This idea and this concept is incredibly difficult to execute and make work, and it probably leads to all kinds of bugs and problems. But it's not impossible. And if they did it, I think there would be a lot of value to it. But if they just said, okay, Call of Duty, it's just called Call of Duty,
Hmm.
and every year, every 2 years, there's a major update. You get a new campaign, some new zombies maps. Maybe it's a different storyline, whatever. You get a multiplayer, like multiplayer just completely changes to like new maps. Like you can't play those old maps anymore. Maybe every once in a while we bring one back, and it's like, oh, they brought back that map everybody loved from that one. But like if it was just like one game that they keep updating, like Fortnite, I feel like people would actually
So
dedicate time to it because they would feel like it's worth something.
so
Like they can show it off 10 years down the road.
and that's what Destiny was keyword, right? So Destiny did do that. Now the thing that, so you mentioned like, oh, like they get rid of all the old maps and bring new ones in, and they might bring in old ones. So what they would actually probably have to do is they release a group of maps, the ones that people like, they keep, the ones that people don't like, they just remove from the pool, and then maybe someone's like, hey, I like that one map where people would always spawn camp. Like, it kind of was a crappy map, but I had some fond memories of that. They go, hey guys, we're bringing back that map for this season or whatever, right? Like, that's cool. But like, yeah, if they did like trickles of content and then they would do one giant update, right? Totally cool with that. But
Yeah, I wish they would do that because I think what's killing Call of Duty is that cycle that they do.
yeah, yeah, and then not to mention, people have always said like each developer is good at one specific thing usually. So, for example, uh, Infinity Ward has a history of being really good with campaigns if that's all they really need to worry about. Modern Warfare 2019, for example, really good campaign, right? Like, what's that one mission where it's a Bravo 6 going dark and like they have to go through like a house and clear it? Is it called Clear House? I think it's
I
literally what
don't
it's
think
called.
that's not the same. That's not the same mission.
Oh, whatever. Well,
But
but
I know what you're talking.
yeah,
The NVG one, yeah, it's iconic. It's like one of the best Call of
I
Duty
feel like it is the
campaign
same one.
missions. It's not the going dark part is like a part of like a later mission, like it's getting climactic, whereas the clean house starts in like an alley and you
Clean
just
House is what it's
go.
called. Yeah.
Yeah, but
But either way, yeah. So stuff like that. But that campaign was really good. And then I think they said that Sledgehammer is really good at multiplayer, which I was like, that makes sense, right? They're not good at,
Advanced Warfare multiplayer was great for
and I
what it
mean,
was.
the when Sledgehammer had to pick their setting for a game, they did Vanguard, and it's like, really, dude, this is the worst World War II game we've had in a long time. Like this one's really bad, right?
The
Zombies was
campaign was
awful.
so bad. Well, like yeah, okay, so like okay, I'm gonna be totally honest. Like I think Warzone is probably the biggest waste of resources right now. Like who cares about? I don't think anybody plays Warzone anymore. Like it only was popular because everybody was at home and it was the new thing to play.
Yeah.
It's like Squid Game, where like everybody watched it because that was the new thing to watch and it was the perfect timing. It just things lined up just right. Nobody's liked Warzone as much as they did when that original version came out. So get rid of Warzone. We don't
Well,
care.
I
Make multiplayer free and charge people for the campaign. Maybe zombies too. Like I don't know, because zombies like that is not.
I wouldn't make multiplayer free for one reason. Hackers.
Well, I mean, there's hackers and everything. That's the
Not
problem.
dude, Call of Duty has had a really bad hacking problem.
Yeah,
Like I
but
told you, like literally
I just
somebody had the ray gun in multiplayer. I was like,
if people
what?
like if people don't have to spend $70 to get access to multiplayer, they're more likely to spend that $70 on microtransactions.
Yeah, I think that's kind of why Fortnite is successful is because then they get access to the game and then they can if they get $10 as allowance, they're like, oh, I'm gonna put this towards the skin.
I mean, a great example is like consoles. They sell the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X at a loss because they know people will buy games and they get a cut of that.
Well, do you think they're even allowed to make the game free? Because it's
I was
rated M.
like I'm saying like Fortnite
Yeah, but
or
it's rated
Fortnite's
M. So they have to have
uh
some way to verify that you're
there's
old enough to
games out
play.
there that are free that are rated M.
I can't think of any is the problem.
Evolve, I'm pretty sure was rated M, and that was like
The game that the
made
zombie game
free
that
at a later
nobody
point. Yeah,
plays.
there
I feel like that was rated
I
T. Destiny was rated T.
maybe. I mean, dude, what makes Call of Duty rated M?
People saying the F word. That's it. That's like literally, and then you can't
Anyway,
say it in
dude.
voice chat.
Well, let me know in the comments. Do you are you maybe it's just something that happens with age, but do you feel like gaming is one of those things that like okay, I guess the way that I'm trying to put it is when I play games too much, I feel guilt. And there's not really anything else that makes me feel that
Well,
way.
it's not even just playing games too much. It's playing games too much without any long-term benefit from it. Like if you're losing your progress every single year, you're like, why am I putting time towards this, right?
Yeah.
So
And I think that's what Call of Duty's issue is. There's just no long-term value to it. Cuz like
yeah,
Fortnite, dude, Fortnite's been going for how long now? And like I mean, there's
uh,
people who flex that they got the skins from the first season,
I
you
think
know?
I think it's probably been like 9 years, or 8 or 9 years.
Yeah.
And what's even crazier about that is the fact that I remember that game started out with Save the World, and no one even talks about that anymore.
Yeah, I think it's still a thing, but
It is still a thing, but it's not
um
necessarily like
not really any reason to play it.
yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no, Marvel Rivals is great. Is I hope they are smart about it and they keep going. I don't really understand how getting cosmetics and stuff works in that game. Because somebody, I think Carnage was saying that there's a way to get stuff for free, but it's a grind. But as long as you're able to get that stuff for free, I'm cool with it. But like I'm gonna try really hard not to spend money on it
Yeah.
because I'm having a great experience without it. So, um, but yeah, Marvel Rivals is great. If you want to play with us, I think you can play up to 6 people, and it's $3 to play with us 4 times a month. When I'm doing the
$3 per month, by the way, not $3 like
yeah,
every
three
single
bucks per month to play with us 4 times a month. So there's a lot of value. We play 2 hours. Um, and we're chatting, hanging out. We're hanging out while we do it. What was I gonna say? Oh, when and this is probably something for us to talk about later. But when I film my movie, I mean that's gonna take a month to film. I'll be able to do this podcast, but I don't know if I'll be able to do the gaming session. You're gonna be able to game with them.
I told you I'll probably take time off so I can do that.
Cool,
So
cool. All right. Um, one last thing we want to talk about before we get to our recommendations is I guess it's going to be an over 2 hour episode, right?
it's an
But
hour 45 minutes right now.
okay, so we'll make this quick. Dude, the honey scandal is, I mean, it directly affected me.
Well, I told you I was always pissed off because it never freaking worked for me in the first place. And so,
Electric Shock released a video that you guys should go check out where he went and broke down like that G Fuel has probably lost, or G Fuel content creators that have codes have probably lost somewhere between 10 and $20 million in revenue.
what? Oh,
Yeah.
holy crap! Because did Honey have a code?
Yeah, Honey 30 or whatever.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, so fuck Honey. I hope there's some kind of class action lawsuit I can join because they definitely owe me money.
Jesus.
It's really frustrating because like he went into the code and you could see that like they had different discount codes, like had like a ranking system. And he's like, so Honey 30 has like a 1 point something, but then you go look at like this creator's code and it has like a 0.32. Like it just, and like he showed that on Microsoft Edge when they have like their own built-in thing and you can see like it actually applied the codes. And he's like, when you look at Honey, it's not actually applying the codes, so who knows what the hell it's doing, right? And so yeah, it was yeah, fuck Honey, man. I thought it was like a useful thing, but it turns out like they were ripping people off, man. And I hope they get sued out the ass because that's I don't know if that's technically illegal, but it should be.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like it probably isn't just because they essentially
I
advertise.
uninstalled that shit immediately when
I think
I first found out.
I think all they advertised themselves as was a way to automatically apply discount codes, and if they had a code that applied, then they didn't do anything wrong in the eyes of the law.
Yeah, but
Morally,
if people
they're
are
corrupt,
if people are applying a code and then when they go to check out, it's like purposely putting its own code, even if it's the same amount of discount, that's wrong.
it's like I said, morally it's wrong. I don't know if it's legally wrong because all they did was they just changed the code out, but it still worked. All they said that they're going to do is automatically apply a discount code. I'm playing
Yeah.
devil's advocate because
But
legally
it's
I don't
safe
know
to
what can
say
happen.
that they owe me like 100K or something.
Oh, probably. I don't know.
So,
Anyways, want to talk about movies?
yeah. Yeah, I watched rewatched Den of Thieves, which Chris, I don't know if it's on my Fandango, but it's a really good like LA heist movie.
Hmm.
Um Gerard Butler is fantastic in that movie. And I went and saw the second one and somehow it was better. Like more original. It had a really good ending, a really good score. Like it was just I was like, "Damn! First movie I've seen in January is like really good." I was impressed. Definitely worth watching. I'm probably gonna watch it again when it comes out on digital with Bobby. So check those out. Those are really good movies. And then last night I finally I got Signs on 4K
Ooh.
disc, like physical. I added it to Fandango because it came with a code in 4K. I'd never seen it in 4K before. It is so beautifully shot for what it is, man. so simple, yet like the camera work is so genius in its simplicity. Like it's so smooth for like such a few amount of shots, and like for a PG-13 movie, it is genuinely scary.
If you have not seen Signs, it
Bobby hadn't seen it in a long time, and that scene where he's got the flashlight in the cornfield, she was like, "Oh," and I'm like, "Yeah."
the scene I
It's
always
so
remember
good.
is the like when it's
The
like
birthday party.
with all the kids. It's behind that one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that looked real. Like the whole thing looks really good in 4K, man.
I need to rewatch that because I don't think I've seen it since I was like 8. It's been a long time.
Yeah, I put in my I wrote I gave it 5 stars and wrote a letterbox review about it because people always argue about like, oh, like I don't want to say what it is, but there's kind of like a logical plot hole that people don't like, but I think people miss the point. The movie's about an alien invasion, but at its core, what the characters are going through, it's about a man whose faith is challenged. That's what it's about. It just happens to be happening because of an alien, like to the backdrop of an alien invasion. But the way this alien invasion is executed is so small and self-contained, but at the same time feels like a worldwide thing. So geniusly executed for a $70 million movie in 2002. Like, I mean, I looked it up. It made $400 million. Like, it's
Whoa.
probably M. Night's most successful film ever, or something like that. Um, but I mean, Mel Gibson's performance and everything, like, it's just, I gave it 5 stars, even though like it technically might have some flaws.
And
But
and that
like,
that's Mel Gibson and Joaquin Phoenix, isn't it?
it was supposed to be Mark Ruffalo. I found out
Oh.
Mark Ruffalo, and it would have not been the same, but I
No.
can see why. Similar vibe, but Mark Ruffalo had to drop out because he got diagnosed with a brain tumor, and it turned out to be benign. But like, it's crazy how something like that will happen, and then you end up with a film that's like a masterpiece because of it. You know, like it would not have been the same with Mark Ruffalo. I don't.
Yeah.
Like it would have worked, and he would have given a great performance. But there's something about Joaquin playing Mel Gibson's little brother in that film that just works. It feels like they're really brothers.
Well, I
The
think
way they talk to each other it really does feel like a little brother who's like a baseball player in really good shape who's thinking about joining the army, and Mel Gibson's like this guy who used to be a freaking priest who's like got a family and shit to take care of. Like it's just I don't know.
I also feel like they look more similar to each other than
Mm.
freaking Mark Ruffalo and Mel Gibson.
Yeah, but that movie, like, there were so many, like, I genuinely, like, I've seen the movie probably 100 times.
Jesus,
And-
bro.
I watched it on DVD as a kid, like, all the time, man.
That's fair.
Okay,
That's fair.
I've seen it like 50 times, probably. Realistically, like 50
Bro,
times.
bro, I had to walk that
And
one
I
back.
noticed, well, because I was exaggerating, but I noticed something this time that I never noticed before.
Like I said, I gotta rewatch it because there's probably stuff that I don't remember at all from that movie.
The score is so good, man. I never heard a score like it ever. So good. So yeah, watch Signs, Den of Thieves 1 and 2. Those are really good too. Chris, what's your recommendations?
So I did something that is like very impulsive, and I was like, you know what? Like I need to do this because it's been a long time. I watched Terminator 1 and 2 because I don't think I've seen those movies once again since I was like maybe 8, right? And I remember I brought it up at work. Someone was like, "Who let you watch Terminator 1?" And I was like, "I don't think I saw the sex scene in it." So it's like I haven't. I was like, I definitely don't remember that part. But yeah,
Who let you watch that?
yeah,
RoboCop. I watched
Yeah,
that shit when I was like 5.
that's exactly what I was like it's not nearly as bad as freaking RoboCop. Like all the
Yeah,
all
RoboCop-
the
the practical effects in RoboCop are gnarly.
yeah, all the violence and like just all the stuff that you see in Terminator is like it's all superficial damage, and like even when the actual Terminator himself gets shot, it's freaking metal underneath. So like who
Yeah,
cares,
so it's
right?
not as graphic. Yeah.
I would say Terminator 2 is probably worse as far as like gore goes because you literally see people get nuked like
Oh,
throughout the
definitely. Yeah,
movie.
there's
yeah,
a
but
lot of injuries in that one. But the first one, there's that scene where he takes his eye out. That looks gnarly.
Yeah, that one was hard for me to watch, and then I remember I had to tell myself I was like, it's a robot, and then immediately I was like my brain was like, oh yeah, poof, and just like
You
turned
realize
that.
that was like stop motion too? Like that was like
Oh, dude, it's super obvious.
yeah, but like
Yeah,
it's so uncanny, but like it looks cool.
because you'll see that there's like a scene where he looks in the mirror, and it literally you can tell it's stop motion, like it's like
I
clay or
like it
something.
though. There's something about it that's just like because it works that he's a robot, I think. I think that's
So,
why.
funnily enough, I would say the practical effects in the thing are actually way better than in Terminator as far as like the stop motion. Like it looks a lot better
Oh,
in the
that
thing.
one scene.
Yeah. That in my opinion that looks more believable because it's not supposed to look human.
It's
Whereas
completely unearthly, yeah.
yeah, right. So that's one thing that like I will say about Terminator where I was like that doesn't look very good today. But Terminator 2 it's crazy like the leap
The
in
jump, yeah.
yeah, like it looks way better. I do feel like the main character of Terminator 1, I forgot what her name is. She was crazy in Terminator 2. And then it seems like they didn't plan for there to be any other movies after Terminator 2.
No, they did not.
Yeah, and
And
so
I think it was one of those situations where James Cameron's like, well, technically, I guess you do own the property, so I guess I'll make some money, but I'm not. But he did be like, oh, like it's the like he would be like, oh, this new Terminator, Dark Fate, it's the best one since Terminator 2, and it's like, fuck you, Jim, you tricked me again. Every time you do this shit, you pull me back in, and I'm done. I'm not watching another one
so
unless they completely reboot it and they do it right. I'm not watching another one.
I should probably watch Alien.
The first Alien, I was surprised. I was like, man, people hype this shit up. It's really slow. Aliens is like the complete opposite. It's James Cameron, so it's like the
Yeah.
Terminator 2 to Terminator 1, but
Yeah.
Alien.
So
Alien Romulus is actually pretty good though, man.
I
I think you
I
would dig Alien Romulus.
I the reason why I watched Terminator is because do you know who Forgotten Weapons is?
No.
So they call him Gun Jesus because he reviews guns from like all throughout history. So he's done reviews on like the Spaz 12 and the Pancore
Okay.
Jackhammer and all that stuff, right? And like if you ever want to know something about a gun, he's the guy to go and watch on YouTube, right?
Okay.
And he did a video on the Uzi, and it turns out like there's three different kinds of Uzi, which I was like, oh, like that makes sense because people will say like the mini Uzi, and I'm like, why is it called that? It's because they had the Uzi, the mini Uzi, and then the micro Uzi, right? So the mini Uzi started out as semi-auto, and then the micro Uzi, when they made that, they accidentally made that full auto. Like they didn't realize that they could do that with the mini, even though the micro is smaller. And then they took the technology from the micro and put it in the mini. So now they have a full auto mini, right? But the difference in size between the Uzi, like the original Uzi, and the micro, it's like half the barrel length, and it has a much higher fire rate. But the reason why that brought me over to Terminator is because there's a scene in Terminator where he goes the 9mm Uzi like this. And so
Yeah, when he's buying the guns. Like,
yeah, and then he asked for like a plasma rifle, and he was like, all we've got is what you see on the wall, pal. But yeah, so that's what got me to watch it. And I'm glad that I did because I was like, yeah, this is a PKA. They talk about. I think Kyle was saying that Taylor needs to watch Terminator 2. And
yeah.
he's like, I haven't even seen the original. He's like, what is wrong with you?
Terminator Genesis is okay. Like it does some fun stuff with it.
I think I saw you had that on.
Yeah, it's okay. Dark Fate was so forgettable.
What's the third one?
It's Rise of the Machines. It's just I
Is
don't
that
know,
the
there's
is that
something about it.
is that the one where they had the arcade machine at Harkins?
No, that's Salvation, which I was gonna say
Yeah.
Terminator Salvation is actually a good movie.
Yeah.
Christian Bale carries the shit out of that. And that just is like an interesting take on Terminator. Whereas all the other ones are trying to replicate what like 2 did. And I think that's the problem. They're just not being original with it. But um yeah, no, I Terminator 1 I need to rewatch because it's just like pretty genius. And then Terminator 2 is just like the quintessential blockbuster action movie of all
Yeah.
time.
The only complaint I have about Terminator 2 is, And I remember like watching
Pretty
them.
long.
Well, that's not the complaint. So watching them back to back, there was one thing that I had a question about originally. So in Terminator 1, one of the plot holes that, or not plot holes, well, one of the one of the holes in, uh, the like dude that comes from the future. One of the holes in his story is he's like, yeah, well, I got teleported from the future. They're like, why are you naked? He's like, oh, well, anything that's not organic can't come through. So like all that comes through is my body. And they're like, so this Terminator that's a robot, how can he come through? And he's like, well, because he's surrounded by human tissue. He's allowed to come back because of that, right? Like the
Yeah.
machine thinks that he's human, so it comes through. And they're like, oh, okay, well, okay, sure, whatever, that makes sense. Well, in Terminator 2, that Terminator is literally made of metal, right? He looks human because he can transform and stuff like that, but he's completely metal. So how is he able to go back in time?
Yeah, I see what you're saying there, but I think I think that's just one of those things where like it's a movie. You know what I mean? Like I saw an interesting thing in that book I was reading where it was like I can't remember what, but it said like if you think about it, like this movie is no more illogical than Dumbo. They're both make believe. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, they're
Dumb.
both make believe. And so your job as a filmmaker is to make it feel believable enough. You're
Yeah.
never going to be able to make something feel totally realistic. Like my Coast Guard film, I'm like, I thought about The Guardian, right? And Kevin Costner's playing a senior chief. Most senior chiefs, once you hit that rank, you don't really do any physical work anymore. But Kevin Costner just happens to be this one rescue swimmer that everybody respects so much for how many saves he has that they're letting him still fly and be a rescue swimmer, even though he's an old ass man who probably shouldn't be doing it anymore. That probably wouldn't fly for real in the Coast Guard. There's a senior chief character in my story who's still kind of doing they call him like God, what do they call him? Anyways, his job, like the people of his rank don't normally do that because they don't want to. Nobody wants to do that grunt work anymore. But for some reason this guy does because he genuinely likes the job and like wants to make a difference. So there's certain things that you have to like I changed like locations for this like rescue case that it talks about, and I don't think that technically could work in real life. Like it could, but nobody would want to do that. But I had to make it work for the location because I don't
Yeah.
really have access to the location like I do San Francisco. So it like I think any movie, if you really sit down on paper and fact check or check the logic of every single thing in the story, you just ruin the story. And
Yeah.
that's part of movies for me is like, is the movie good enough that I'm willing to overlook that and just forget about that? And if that is true, that's cool. Like, I mean, Toy Story, phenomenal movie. But at the end of the day, it's about toys that come to life when humans aren't around. That's not real. That can't happen. But you forgive it for a story because it's fun and it's good
Well,
and
yeah, like I said,
entertaining.
but that's the only issue I had with the movie where I was genuinely like, well, this
Yeah,
broke its own rule. Why are they coming back naked still? But then after that, it was like whatever.
I will give you that. If they're very open about this is the rule and then they break it, that is annoying.
Yes, which
I'll give you that.
yeah, Terminator 1 established that rule, and then that's why people come back naked.
But Terminator 2 is so fucking good that who cares?
Well,
It's
that's
so
that. Yeah,
good.
that's the thing. Nobody talks about that. And,
Yeah.
I bet you, I could like look it up, and there's probably like 8 Reddit threads
Armageddon.
about it.
Armageddon is a really good blockbuster. Like that is like probably the definition of a popcorn movie to me. But if you think about it, wouldn't it be easy? They always say it wouldn't it be easier to train astronauts to be drillers than to train drillers to be astronauts if you only have like
Right.
a week to do it?
Right. Yeah, I know
But
that.
the movie
Yeah,
wouldn't be what it is if they did it that way.
yeah.
So
And I mean, just
you
like
have to forgive it.
it's just like how I feel about Endgame, where Endgame has that massive plot hole of like, well, why are they using a time machine to go back and get all the Infinity Stones to wish everybody back when they could just go back in time, grab a time stone, and then reverse everything back to the point before Thanos
Because it
snapped?
wouldn't be a good movie.
Right.
Yeah.
Although, depending on who you ask, Endgame wasn't very
I mean,
good.
okay. I mean, think about it. why is Titanic such a good movie if you know every like all these people are gonna die at the end, the boat sinks. Like you know how it ends.
Right.
Like if you've never seen Titanic before, you're like, well, I know the boat sinks at the end,
See, but
but you're
so
still invested. Like it's
what?
still a great fucking movie.
And so that's why I think, like, for example, Solo. Part of why it didn't do very well is because people were like, "Well, we know there's no stakes, right? Like they know that."
Yeah, like when a movie doesn't really justify its existence.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why like these other Terminator movies, like Terminator Genesis, is like going back to like the it goes back to the first Terminator movie, and like they're messing with that timeline. And so it's like the movie doesn't need to exist. And so even though it's fun and entertaining, like it's pretty useless and forgettable, and
Well,
it has its own issues.
Back to the
Okay, I feel
Future.
like that when it feels like it's just a cash grab,
Yeah.
I don't want to watch it.
Yeah. Back to the Future has its own plot holes, but those movies are like still so freaking good that people are willing to ignore it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's why, as much as I would love to make a time travel movie, just the idea of sitting down and trying to not write myself into a corner that I have to break my own rules to execute is daunting, and it
That's
shies me away from it.
so if you ever wanted to do a time travel movie, I would 100% sit down with you and be like, here's what I found that might be a plot hole. And you'd be like, okay,
Okay.
because I'm very
Then
nitpicky
trying to
about this stuff.
solve that and fix it is so hard because it's like with a movie that has deals with time and like a timeline and stuff, you change one specific thing and it fucks with
I
everything, you
think
know?
the number one thing is you just have to don't ever go back in time before someone was born and have it be in the same universe. Because if you ever do that, then like for example, if you were like, "Oh, I'm gonna go back in time before Hitler was born and kill him," right? Oh, the day he gets born, I'm gonna just like strangle him, right? No Hitler now, woo! But if you were born after Hitler, you aren't going to be guaranteed to be born, right? Because history's changed. So all the events that led up to you being born, anything that happened before that, if it gets changed, you will no longer be born. It could literally be like, oh, the day that your parents decided to do it so that you could be born, right? Instead of having Captain Crunch, your dad had cornflakes and he wasn't in the mood because of that. So now he's not going to do it, right? Like you're not going to be born anymore, right? All because
Yeah.
you put
Yeah,
into his mind that he wanted cornflakes.
I think that's why the first Back to the Future is like so perfect, is because it's so specific in its goal, and like the rules aren't like over explained or complicated, and so it's just like, yeah, like if this kid doesn't go back, and if he doesn't make sure that his parents fall in love and have him, then he's going to cease to exist, and it's going to destroy the fabric of
Yeah.
time.
And Back to the Future 2 actually F's up because
Dude,
then
there's so many things behind the scenes on that film that piss me off. Like it's a fun movie, but I almost like hate watch it now because like the guy who plays George McFly is not the same actor. But they put prosthetics on his face. They used his likeness without his permission.
well, so
Crazy.
um the big thing is and I know we're going way over 2 hours at this point, but there's the rule that Doc Brown says is like, oh, you're going to a different universe, so if you change stuff in the past, you've made a new universe. So now if you go back to if you go back to the future, then you are in that universe's future, not the original universe's future, right? So you have to go back to the past and change whatever you changed back to what it originally was so you go back to your universe. And it's like, well, anything that you changed has put you into a different universe. So you will never go back to your universe unless you kill yourself, which is like that's not going to happen, right? Like that'll never happen. So you're kind of screwed. And so then people are like, "Okay, well, Biff goes back to the past and changes stuff so that his future could be better, right?" But when he goes back to his future, like the universe hasn't changed. It's so weird. Like there's so many issues there, and I get it. It's just a movie, but like if the second movie never existed and it was only the first one and not the third one either, then that would be like completely okay. Like that movie would be able
Yeah.
to stand on its own just fine.
And that's where money and studio intervention and all that stuff ruins stories. You know,
Yeah.
like I like The Substance, right? The director was like, "That's it. I'm not. I will make sure that they never make a Substance 2. As fun of a concept as it is, it's meant to be a standalone thing." And I like that. I respect that. That's why like the Thing 2, like the Thing 2011, I hate it so much is because like it doesn't really need to exist. But John Carpenter John Carpenter did say that he's working on a Thing 2. So I'm like, it better be worth it, Johnny, because if it's not and you're putting your name on that and it's not justified, then
Legacy's
it kind of
ruined.
fucks with
Yeah.
the original. Yeah, because I right now, because last night I was thinking about it, because I was like, the Science is going in my top 10 of all time. So I sat down and started making a list, and it's not done yet. Like I think I need one more movie. Um, but the Thing is my number one because it checks all the boxes of a good movie, but it's also like pretty flawless, and like any things that are like that movie has some like error, like technical errors to it, but because of the way it's presented, you don't even notice. Like there's a scene that I listened to the commentary, and Kurt Russell comes out to because the helicopter, he sees that like he hears a noise, and he comes and finds out that the helicopter's been destroyed, and he just picks up this flashlight, and he's like, Kurt Russell's like, where the fuck did that flashlight come from? And John Carpenter's like, I don't know, it was just there. They're like laughing, and it's like, never thought about it, because it doesn't really matter. Like,
Hmm.
who's to say that flashlight wasn't just there, you know? But it's just like one of those things where like, why would there be a random flashlight just happen
Well,
to be there, you know?
yeah, and you can always like make up a justification in your mind, which is why it's okay, right?
Yeah,
It's when something's like objectively you're like that does not make sense at all,
yeah. And
right?
pay attention to signs when you do watch it. There's a lot of things like that where I'm like, I never thought about that.
So,
That's why this is there.
I guess the way that we can end this episode, what would you do, or what would you say would justify the existence of a a second Thing movie?
Um, well, to be fair, I thought about my own like fan sequel,
Hmm.
and my idea, and then I don't know if I should say it, because like if I ever in a million years like got the lucky opportunity to make a sequel, I would probably do it. It's not in a million years, it's never gonna happen. But just the idea that it could, like, I don't want to like say this. My idea was they're in the Antarctic, right? They're in Antarctica, right?
Yeah.
The Coast Guard has icebreakers that go to Antarctica. And so I thought about like, what if a Coast Guard research vessel, icebreaker, went out there, and they go to like find out why they went radio silent, and they find Kurt Russell and Child's frozen, and so they take the remains with them, and now they're going back to their home base in the U.S. It's this long ass journey, and the Thing is on this icebreaker boat while they're just sailing towards the U.S., and it's going rampant on the boat, and it's the whole, who is it, all this stuff,
You
like,
see, and that, yeah, the only complaint that I have with that is it's the exact same like
well, see,
plot of
here's
like
the thing. I would do it in a way. I
Yeah.
would do it in a way where you don't see who was the Thing. We still don't know if it's Childs. We still don't know if it was Kurt Russell. It could be either one of them.
Right.
But the thing is, they brought them on the boat, and it was one of them. Because I don't really want to know who it really was. I have my theory. I think it was Childs. But that's one of those things that like people still debate to this day, and I
Because
wouldn't want to mess with that
I
specific question.
as far as like how do you make it different from the first one where it's like it's justified is like because and I'm not saying your idea is bad. I'm just saying to me the way I think of it is just like okay, so you're talking about there's this remote thing where everyone is stuck there and it's a who is it kind of a story where you don't know who is infected and who's not, right? It's the exact same like sequence of events pretty much, just that it's a different setting, like a slightly different setting, and there's different
More
people
people.
involved.
It's on
Yeah.
a bigger scale.
I if it was me, if I was like how do I one up the original, I'm thinking okay, what happens if it like goes rampant in a city?
Yeah, see, and I think I like that too, but that sounds more like a number three. Like you got to like pace yourself scale wise.
It
Like
doesn't have to be a big city first. I'm not saying, oh, freaking Godzilla thing. Like that's
no,
not
but
gonna
I mean
happen
like
yet.
okay, like what's the difference between it going rampant in Santa Fe, New Mexico as opposed to like Albuquerque? Like it looks the same, it's just more people, but on a movie scale, are you really going to notice that much of a difference if it's a small self-contained story following one specific team or
I
person?
I think like if it became a thing where it's almost like an outbreak, where it's like you have multiple running around,
See,
right?
but then that turns into that's the thing that people argue about with Alien and Aliens. So with Alien, it's one alien on a ship, right? And with
Uh-huh.
Aliens, it's like a whole colony of them. And in the first Alien, they're having a really hard time killing one of them, but in Aliens, they're just shooting him left and right like nothing. So the danger isn't the same. Whereas I feel like if you're on a research vessel, it's a bigger amount of people, but they're still stuck, stranded on a boat, and they don't know who it is. There's still isolation to it. If you bring it to a city, that isolation factor's gone. So I don't.
True.
It's not as scary. It's just not, the paranoia is not the same. It's more like Gremlins, where it's like, oh shit, they hopped in a swimming pool. Now there's a ton of them. You know what I mean? It's just not. It doesn't have the same effect.
Yeah.
I'm not invested the same. Now it's just kind of mindless. They're left and right, and we're just shooting them, and
And I think you're right.
like a zombie movie now.
Yeah. Well, and that's where I was going. Is like it's like a zombie outbreak, but it's a freaking
Yeah, I don't have any interest in
shit.
seeing a thing movie like that. Like I think the idea of having it self-contained to like a boat or something still has that kind of like you have a timer of like holy shit, like what this boat cannot make it to civilization or else the whole world's fucked. Same problem. Um but there's, more people. We get to meet new characters. We get to see different versions of the thing, because that was the thing about the first one that was so cool, is like each thing was different. In the prequel that they made, they did similar monsters and stuff, and it just didn't and it was CGI, so it just didn't feel the same. So it's got to be practical effects, and I think if they do that on a massive like city scale, there ain't no way you're doing that much practical effects. It's
I
going to be
I
CGI.
guess where I'm coming from, as far as like you have to one up it and make it unique, is between Terminator 1, Terminator 2. Why was Terminator 2 justified? And it's like, okay, first off, the bad guy is now a good guy. Okay.
Dude, and the way, I don't know if like people will never experience Terminator 2 the same way that the public did when Terminator 2 first came out. Because if you go back and watch the trailer, they do it in a way, it's edited in a way where you do not know that Arnold Schwarzenegger is on the good side now. So people went in to see Terminator 2 expecting like Arnold is going to be coming after them. And they marketed it like there's two different people coming after them, but then they go watch the movie and Arnold's on the good side. It was like one of the biggest like fuck yeah, he's on our team now, bitch.
Yeah.
Like dude, like
And he was so cool as far as like being like a character on the good side, because it was like you see him just being a villain in the first one. There's no emotion, right? And it's like
yeah.
they whatever they did to him in the future to get him onto our side, it's like you see the little bit of
Well,
humanity in him, even though he's a
in that,
robot.
yeah.
It's like he has emotions now. It's really
But that
cool.
little subplot aspect to the fact that Sarah Connor, when she
That's
first
her
meets
name. Yeah.
him, she shits a fucking brick
Yeah,
because
dude.
the only experience she has is that this fucking guy was trying to kill her, and now he's just walking around with her son.
Yeah, and
Like,
then
what
yeah,
the?
yeah, and they did a really good job with that. And then when John Connor meets him, he's like, "Oh my God, wait, I've heard about you. You're real? I thought my mom was
My mom was
crazy."
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So that changes so much. It's Terminator 2.
it feels very
I think that's a
real.
5-star movie.
Yeah, like yeah, watching it, I was like, oh, like I totally get why people love this one more than the first one. Like,
And it holds up, man. It holds up. That
yeah,
liquid metal effect or whatever that they created for that movie, people still use that to this day.
yeah,
It was new technology. And that's love James Cameron or hate him, like he is probably one of the most innovative filmmakers next to Christopher Nolan. Because Christopher Nolan out here, dude, I just found out that they're saying supposedly he has a $250 million budget for his next film, which would be like the biggest budget Christopher Nolan's ever
yeah. And
had.
it's supposed to be like the Odyssey.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. whenever they talk about what Christopher Nolan's next movie is about, they find out like what the core idea is, but you don't know what Christopher Nolan's doing with that core idea.
Yeah, and that's the thing that like I'm interested to see how he does that because when I hear like he's doing a story like that, right? Has Christopher Nolan done a movie in like a setting that ancient? I don't think he
That's the
has.
thing. We don't even know if it is ancient.
Like you think it might be like it follows the same sort of like plot beats
Yeah.
as the Odyssey, but it's
Yeah.
just that it's in
Well,
a different time period.
there is a book, and I don't remember the number. I don't know what it's called, but it's basically like the idea that you can break down every movie and every story down to like this 20 different plots that are the same plots that have been used for storytelling since the dawn of time.
Uh-huh.
And a lot of it goes back to that old Greek mythology. And so what is he going to do with that idea? Because it's a story that's been told 1,000 times. So what is he must have some new idea that makes it worth going and going, hey, like give me a budget. I know I just did Oppenheimer, which is considered like one of the best historical biopics ever.
Hmm.
And it made all this money. Whatever his, like I said it in my Letterboxd review. The biggest thing that I took away from Oppenheimer is that Christopher Nolan's one of the greatest filmmakers ever, and from this point on, every movie he does, he has the opportunity to do something that's never been done before. So what's he gonna do? I want to know what he's gonna do
Dude,
next.
imagine he makes the most basic, cliche, cheesy movie of all time, and he's like, "That's the point,
Well,
man. That's the point."
Every time he's made a movie, I'm like, how the fuck is he gonna top the last one? I was like, dude, I don't know if he could ever top Inception, and then he made Interstellar, and I was like, how the fuck is he gonna top that? And then he made Oppenheimer, and I'm like, how is he gonna top that? You know, because like,
Notice how he skipped Tenet.
well, okay, so the reason why I skipped Tenet is because he follows a cycle, and he's done it ever since Batman Begins, where he makes a movie for the no, actually since Batman Begins, he makes a movie for the studios, and then he makes a movie for himself, and he makes a movie for the studios, and he makes one
did
for
he do
himself.
Man of Steel?
He wrote it.
He wrote it. Okay.
Him and his brother wrote it, and I think that's why Man of Steel is so good. It's not great, or yeah, Man of Steel is not amazing, but it's pretty damn good.
The
for what it
only
is.
the only scene I remember from that is Kevin Costner like dying.
Yeah, and he's just like, um, but yeah, dude. I mean, have you seen the memes going around where it's like Willem Dafoe, and he's just like,
Oh, when he's like looking up at the sky, yeah.
It's like it's like Matt Damon when he shows up to the set of The Odyssey, and Christopher Nolan has gotten a real monster. He's just like, oh
What?
fuck, like.
Well, 'cause I remember they were saying like that Christopher Nolan for Oppenheimer had like replicated the actual like mushroom cloud from a nuke, and everyone was like, did he detonate an actual nuke? Like they were
Yeah.
like, what the heck, bro? Like what is it? How is he doing that? It turned out he just used conventional explosives, right?
Yeah.
But they thought he made it. He actually nuked a place for a movie. And I was like, you guys are
That
so
whole
stupid,
movie,
bro.
when it keeps cutting to like nuclear fission like
Mm-hmm.
happening, right? And like you just see like atoms and shit. Like those are practical effects. That's not CGI.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He used zero CGI for the movie. Like I
Right.
saw a YouTube video where they recreated that like on a smaller scale to try and figure out like to show how he did that. And it's just like I can't even comprehend.
He just
Like,
used
if-
a scanning electron
He is
microscope.
he is literally like a super genius over here filmmaker. Like I think he is. I don't. I a lot of people think that Tenet is his worst film, and like if that's his worst film, man, like the bar is really high.
Yeah, it's like that idea of like, would you rather be the best player on the worst team or the worst player on the best team? Like, if you're the worst player on the best team, what are you
You're
like
still
like
winning.
a solid like B minus? Like that's
still
still
winning,
pretty
yeah.
good, man. So
But
yeah,
the fact that he made a 3-hour Historical biopic, and it made what, $1 billion, or I think it made 1 billion, right?
I don't know. I think you're probably right though. I wouldn't be surprised.
The fact that he even did that in 2023 or whenever the movie came out, who else could do that?
I don't even
If
know
it
what
was,
other.
if I don't think Denis Villeneuve could have done that. Like, I mean, Dune Part Two made almost, I think, half a bill, but like it's just, it doesn't compare, man. It's like Dune Part Two is pretty much a masterpiece as well, but like the
Yeah,
fact that Christopher Nolan made that movie and it made $1 billion is like, he can do anything.
it pretty much made 1 billion. It made 976 million, which is crazy.
It can, like, I think Christopher Nolan can do anything. I think whatever he makes next is gonna make $1 billion, no matter what.
And that's what that he made that with a $100 million budget.
Dude, he shot it in like 54 days. For a movie with that budget, that is like, it doesn't like they usually have like 3 to 6 months to film, and he filmed it. He filmed it like an indie movie with a fucking big ass. You could see Von Holten or whatever his name is with the IMAX camera on his shoulder. Like, it's ridiculous. No, like the IMAX technology that they're making for this movie, like, who knows what he's gonna do with it? But like, next to James Cameron, he is the biggest innovator when it comes to filmmaking, hands down. And the fact that he's gonna have $250 million to make this movie, it is. I might travel to go see it on an actual IMAX screen that uses film, because most of them use a laser or whatever they call it. It's digital. It's not actual film. So I think he's gonna break the world whenever it comes out. Imagine he just makes some shitty ass movie and pockets half of it or something.
I know that'd be messed up, but like it would be really funny, and I'd respect it. But
Well, it's just like, I mean, to finally end this episode, like Tarantino stopping at 10 movies. You know what I mean? Like, that's
which we don't even know when that next one's coming out.
no, because he scrapped it. They were like weeks away from filming when they scrapped it, bro.
Do they know? Do they know what
Kind
it
of
was
crazy.
about?
Supposedly, it was about this famous critic from the 70s, and Cliff Booth was gonna be in it, and all this other stuff. And I'm like, damn, I would have liked to see that, but for some reason he got cold feet, and now he's
Well,
starting over from scratch.
I
Gotta find
wouldn't.
something else to do.
I wouldn't say for some reason. I think it's because he really wasn't 100% happy with it.
Yeah, and
So,
if it's gonna be his last film, he better be 100% happy with it, you know.
yeah.
But I don't mind the idea that he wants to stop, but it's just like, why? You know, like, what are you gonna do? Like, statistically, when people retire and they stop doing the thing they love, they die within like a year. I'm not saying
Yeah.
Quentin Tarantino's gonna die, but it's just like,
I,
what satisfaction are you gonna get out of life? He says he wants to go do plays, and
I think.
I mean,
I think.
never done TV. He
I
could do
think-
TV.
I think the whole idea behind it was it's like what's
Ending on a
what's-
high note.
what's that actor with James Dean, right? Like he was gonna be like a huge freaking deal, like he was slated to be like one of the biggest actors,
The next big star. Yeah,
and then he died, and so
I want
people,
to make a movie about that guy's car.
and of course, yeah, and the taillights, yeah. So so that guy, that guy, people don't remember him purely based off of how he performed. They remember him based off of his potential, right? And so I think that's what Quentin Tarantino wants. He doesn't want to just make movies all the time and then just make movies until he dies and have the ones towards the end be like kind of good, but not like amazing. He wants
Okay.
to end on like the highest note he possibly can and then be done.
Well, okay, if you're gonna do that, then I think the way to do it without pissing people off is don't tell him it's the last one. I think that's where he fucked up. He
Yeah.
told people years ago, "I'm only gonna do 10 movies," and so now people are like, "Well, this last one, if it's not his best movie ever, everybody's gonna say like, if it flops, people don't like it for some reason. If it's like, bro, this shit's worse than Death Proof, right? Like, if that's the situation, You think he's really gonna be able to stop and end on a low note like that?
Probably not.
But then you stop on 11 or 12? Like, it doesn't
Well,
sound as good
I
as
guess
10.
we're doing 20. That's it is what it is, brother.
Django 2, here we come.
God, I hope not. That would.
It was supposed Hateful Eight was supposed to be Django 2.
I don't know if he would really be the guy to do sequels though. I feel like he wouldn't. He wouldn't.
He did
stick to
Kill
that.
Bill Volume 2, but it was meant to be a sequel the whole time, so.
Yeah, I mean, I meant for like movies like that because I think Django is like very clearly like its own thing. And if you're gonna make
Inglourious Bastards 2, Bigger Bastards.
yeah, yeah, where they fight Mecha Hitler. Yeah,
Yeah.
like just Jesus Christ. Yeah,
Alright,
anyone
wrap
who's just
this
listening
up.
to the audio has no idea why we just laughed, but yeah.
It's the Willem Dafoe meme. It's like
Yeah.
my favorite meme right now, dude. Anyways, go get some Fit Butters, get some G Fuel, join our Patreon, come game with us. Marvel Rivals is a blast. Chris is gonna play it next time.
Don't say that. What if I get like AIDS and die, bro? Like you don't know that.
Well, Jesus. And go watch Science. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. Top 10. Beautiful film. Just don't get stuck on the logic because that's not the point.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next week.
Peace.